Welcome, everybody, to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Matthew Spear here with my beautiful wife, Olivia Spear. Welcome, honey. How are you?
Hello.
I love it how we have to pretend like we haven't been sitting together the entire time.
Exactly.
And, oh, God. It's like Elizabeth Warren.
In. Would you like a beer?
Would you like a beer? Hi, honey.
Come on in.
Would you like a ritual humping? Yeah. Elizabeth Warren. Pocahontas. She's just tribal, folks. I don't know. I don't know what her problem is, but I'm bummed. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. A very special guest we will have tonight, Barry Morgenstein. Feels like an old family friend who's shown up. Not that uncle that wears Old Spice and tells really weird stories about Vietnam, but one of the ones you like. Barry is a very cool dude. I think you will enjoy the conversation tonight much. We're going to do what we always do. An interview will be coming between him and I, and we'll talk about that. But right now, it's just basically every Friday night. It's Red Friday. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about some topics that are going around, and we will bring it all to you in about 3 minutes. Do me a favor, if you would not mind, please like, share, and subscribe. Get this out to the ether world. It's going to be a little bit of a slow night, being that it's Friday. It is spring break, and I'm not expecting huge numbers as all the other channels are kind of down. Let's see if we can break that and get a lot of people on with Barry. So let's rock and roll. We'll see you guys and girls in about 3 minutes. Facebook notification has gone out. Let's rock and roll. Wait a second. Don Bradley hanging out in D.C. tonight on a visit, so we'll miss this show. Dinner at Sequoia. You're in D.C. and you didn't tell us? Oh, Don. Major uncool points.
Hey guys, Barry Morgenstein, America's headshot photographer, coming to you from my New York City studio. Great friend of the DUM show. It is now time to put down the camera because it's almost 7 p.m. and I'm gonna watch the coolest, the most real and raw show on the internet. It's on every night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the coolest guys, Matt, Olivia, Leroy, and Amy. You guys have to tune in to see it. It's gonna be something incredible every night. Check it out.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
either Leroy grew hair or we have a new guest who is going to be introduced and sit here uncomfortably. Usually you put them in the green room and talk about them and then bring him in and go, ladies and gentlemen, it's Barry Morgenstein. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it right in front of him, embarrass him the right way. Barry Morgenstein is one of the most sought after portrait photographers in the country. Now, I should clear my voice because I told Barry I was a little bit of a writer, and he is going to possibly hire me to write his bio. So let's see.
You need to use your advertising voice.
Barry Morgenstein is one of the most sought after portrait photographers in the country. Known for capturing the essence of power, personality, and presence in every frame. His lens has told the stories of icons, whether it's legends like Bruce Springsteen. It's not true, though, right? We figured out that wasn't true. So, Elton John, or political heavyweights like Donald Trump, Ollie North, and Dr. Sebastian Gorka. With a career that began in the high-energy world of rock and roll and transitioned into defining the visual identities of actors, CEOs, newsmakers, and political leaders. Barry's work doesn't just, photograph people. That's a mistake. Won't be in your real bio. It immortalizes moments. From his early days shooting Rolling Stone covers to earning the title of the best headshot photographer in New York City. Barry has built a reputation on trust, authenticity, and uncanny ability to bring out the truth in his subjects. Today, he's not just a photographer, he's a storyteller with a camera, respected across both the entertainment and political worlds. Whether you're on the right or left of the political aisle, if you're in the spotlight, chances are Barry Morgenstein has helped define how the world sees you. Now he joins us to share the stories behind the lens, the triumphs, the controversies, and what it's like to capture the face of a movement. How many shows have you been on? That
sounds good.
Thank you. It's got to be the best. Got to be the best you've ever heard. Barry Morgenstein, man, welcome to the Donut Friendly Show, brother. How are you?
Hey, great. Thanks for having me. Love being here with you guys. I'm really excited. So this is very cool. Love it.
It's gonna be a fun night, man. So
yes.
let's go back to how we all kind of met. And there is a good friend of the show named Deirdre. And how do you know Deirdre? How did that story happen? I'll just tell you quickly. She came to me and she's like, hey, you need to go do headshots with all your crew with Barry Morgenstein. And I'm like, sure, let me just go ahead and fuel up my jet and, get off my yacht and go pay him in gold bullion or Cougarans from South Africa. And we'll just go ahead and do that. And I just thought it was impossible. So I completely blew her off the first time. And then she's here right now in chat. And so she reached out again. And she's like, no, you really have to go do this. I'm like, all right, forget this. I'm just going to look this guy up. And it was right around Thanksgiving. And I saw that like literally everybody that I admire you have photographed, from the musical world, from celebs to authors to veterans and whatever. And so I reached out to you. We talked. You told me about Virginia. I got the price I was thinking was going to be 10 times more than what it was. Then you told me the price and I'm like, oh my God, this is something we can do. And we did it. Okay. So now we know that. And then tell me about Deirdre and how you guys know each other, if you wouldn't mind.
No, of course. Oh my God. That blows my mind, that connection, because we go back to the 80s. That's when we met. She was a model, beautiful girl. I wish I could remember. I don't know if we met through an agency or something, but I know we did a couple of shoots together, which I sent you a couple of examples, which I hope Deirdre was okay with that. Beautiful shots that I've done of her in the past. And I think we reconnected on social media years later. And she started bringing her kids to me for headshots too. So she has beautiful children. We did some great headshots of them. And then that's we just stayed in contact back from the 80s. So she's a great lady though. Great lady. She's
So when you picture people, fans or whatever, and you see them, it's always different. And that's probably the number one thing I get is I listen to you on the podcast, but I've never seen your picture. And then I see it and you look different than I thought. And when I saw Deirdre, she looked like Raquel Welch. I mean, she was a looker. Yeah.
Right. I thought you were going to say when you met me in Virginia, you were shocked of how handsome I was, but
no, that's the second part of the story. We're not even there yet. Right. So So
Yeah, no,
so
no, she's a beautiful girl. It still is. So yeah.
and it's so funny because when I'm sitting there, you're like, Deirdre. And I say, yeah, Deirdre, Dolly or Dally, and you're like, I know her. And I'm like, okay. And then you show me a picture, and I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. So, so amazing experience. We just got done. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I know it's hard to do that incredible bio to beat that, but you're going to need to try. And tell us a little bit about you, and people understand what you're about, and we'll give you a couple minutes to do that.
Yeah, I guess, well, starting off, try not to make it too long. As you know, I started off as a rock and roll photographer. I was a guitar player and a big rock and roll music fan in the beginning. I wanted to be a guitar player, but realized early on I was pretty bad, didn't have a future as a musician. I was not talented. But I love being around musicians. All my friends were musicians. I had a girlfriend who was a singer in a group I was in at the time. I just picked up a camera. I started photographing her, started photographing my buddies who were guitar players. And I realized, you know what? I love music. I know how to capture these people. This is how I can stick in the music world. And I just had an eye for it because of my love of music. And so I started working as an assistant to a big rock and roll photographer in New York City. He started sending me out to shoot concerts, as you're seeing there. And I just built up a portfolio and started shooting concerts. And from there, I kind of started getting more in portraits. I thought I was going to be a big fashion photographer. I thought that was a cool idea. It's like, why not be a fashion photographer? It's a good job being around beautiful women all the time. It's like, okay, that sounds good. But I realized early on that fashion world's not really for me. I really I like being around creative people, and it wasn't my thing. I started realizing I like shooting actors and personalities, so that's how I got into portraits.
Yeah.
So that's a quick version.
Who is like I probably can tell. I've met a lot of sports figures and political figures, and you brief admirals or SecDef or whatever. You kind of become a little inoculated to being starstruck. But like, who was your first that you were just like, oh, I cannot believe that I'm photographing this person, and they're supposed to be nervous, but I'm absolutely just like, I don't even know how I'm gonna hit the plunger on the camera.
Well, that's probably easy. I mean, it was a quick shoot. I was shooting a live concert, but I got to meet him backstage as Paul McCartney.
Wow.
Big Beatles fan since I was a kid. That's what got me into music. So I was about to meet Paul McCartney, and so basically, I just I was backstage at Madison Square Garden, and he came walking through the door with Linda, and looked him right in the eye, and the best I could muster up was like, I looked him in the eye, I just said, "Holy shit." He looked at me. He had a smirk on his face, like, okay, he gets this every day from these. That's from these idiots responding like that. So that was that was my first very starstruck experience. Yeah, I've had a few. That was the biggest one because he was the most important to me. So that was pretty cool.
Where do you think your break took place? I mean, where was it? I mean, we're still waiting for ours, but where was the time when you're just like, okay, this is going somewhere that I can no longer control, and it has a life of its own? Because, dude, your resume is ridiculous.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. But I guess I see more of my success because the music's in the past. Now I sell those photos with T-shirts and prints, but now my thing is a headshot photographer. That's where I really made my name, and I think that's what my reputation is now. And I don't know when it started off. I started shooting, again, like I said, actors. I started shooting a lot of soap opera actors. They started requesting me for when soap operas were big in New York. I was recommended to go see soap opera magazines, and they started hiring me, and then I started working for the soap operas. So I started shooting these actors and actresses, and I realized I knew how to capture. That was my thing, portraits. But then I started slowly getting into news people and political people, and I think that's when I really started really building my reputation through that. So,
what soap opera? Just out of curiosity, I'm a Days of Our Lives guy when I was younger.
Yeah, that was Los Angeles, so it wasn't those guys. It was all like I was mainly for Another World, Some Guiding Light, and As the World Turns. So all those New York based. So I would be hired. I would be on the set shooting while they were rehearsing. But then when the magazines would do layouts of the actors, photo shoots, I would be hired to do those. So those were fun. A lot of great experiences there.
Question, Liv. I think
there's 3 of them so far.
Okay.
You have to look up Carrie's. It's way too far ago.
Okay.
When did you get your first camera, Barry?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, probably. See, it's funny. In high school, I wasn't the least bit interested in photography. As a matter of fact, I remember I was in a photography class, and all I did was cause trouble. So I always wanted to go back to that teacher and tell her what I ended up doing, because she probably would have gotten a kick out of it. So it was probably probably my early 20s. That's when I was in the band, and I don't know what made me decide to pick up the camera and start photographing my friends instead of trying to play an instrument. So it was definitely my early 20s, I would say. And then I went to school to learn basic stuff. And back then it was film, so it was learning black and white film, darkroom stuff, and all that. So yeah, that was the beginning.
Gotcha. Who would you like to photograph that you have not
Ooh, that's a good
photographed
one.
yet?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, my list is pretty long there. I do that. I have a feature on my social media. I always say somebody who I'd like to photograph. It's a wide variety. It could be from an actor, like my favorite actor, Al Pacino. I would love to photograph. One of my favorite musicians, Bob Dylan. I just posted the other day the day after I photographed Melania Trump, I am retiring, so she's high on the list. And really seriously, I would love to photograph Medal of Honor recipients, because now that for me that's like a big thing, is shooting, as we were talking about, veterans and heroes. So yeah, like Medal of Honor. So that's my favorite. Rob O'Neill is on my bucket list. I'd love to get him in the studio. Luckily, I met him at CPAC a few months back, so that was an honor.
I saw that.
But yeah, to get him in the studio would be really cool. So people like that. It's just anytime you get somebody who's a real hero in the studio, that they're on my bucket list too.
Well, we'll see if we can scratch the back. We know a few team guys, and we'll see if we can see if we can put the word out there.
Yeah, Carrie had one, but it was way at the very beginning.
Yeah,
of the show,
I saw Carrie's. And let me go ahead. I was just trying to figure out why someone was making a comment, a former viewer, about Jeffrey Marsh, how I kick them for having an opinion on Jeffrey Marsh. Jeffrey Marsh is a quack. So unless it was a good opinion, you deserve to be kicked. And if it was a bad opinion, then I applaud you. So I'm not sure why you got kicked. It probably had nothing to do with that. And you're here now, so you didn't get kicked that hard. So welcome back. Don't piss me off again. No, I'm kidding. So let's look at Carrie's, and I'll get that real quick. And she says, for Barry, did you get autographs of all of these rock stars? I understand. I know the answer to this. I when I was looking at all your pictures, I saw kind of what you do to collect your trophies, but let them know, and how do you get your trophies of your biggest celebs?
Yeah, actually, I've never been an autograph guy. I've always, I guess having their photos is pretty cool. Having to photograph them and having great shots of them. Yeah, no, I've never been the only autograph that I went after. This is completely unrelated to photography or what I do. One autograph I do have hanging. Actually, sorry, I have two. But one was a signed letter, which I'll get to. But anyway, the one autograph I did seek out was on eBay of Major Dick Winters, who was featured in the Band of Brothers. We were talking about earlier that I'm a big World War II buff. Mm-hmm. So I found a signed picture of him, which I think is real. But for some reason, that's the only autograph. So, as far as people the rock and rollers and the celebrities I photographed, I just like having the fact that I took their picture. That's pretty much enough.
What about the one I gave you? You didn't
the hat. Oh no, the coin. The coins. Is that what you mean? The coin or the hat?
I'm just busting balls. Right. I didn't get
I do love getting the challenge coins too. That's better than ours.
So we have not done a dumb show challenge coin, and although I have handed out thousands of coins myself personally, and actually for Valor designed a few myself, we haven't done a dumb show coin because to strike a coin is expensive. They're not cheap. They're about $500 for the plate. Then design time and print time, they come out to $5 to $25 a piece, but people want us to get a dumb show coin. They think it's time we do. Okay. So,
I've got a question.
Oh, you got a question? Go ahead, Lydia.
Yes. Who, out of everyone that you have photographed so far, who is your favorite?
Actually, I guess, this is like a first part of my career, the music. So that would be McCartney. Again, Beatles fanatic. Second was probably my photograph that I photographed of President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, and the their first official meeting in 2016. So that's my favorite.
What was that?
The correct answer is us. Jeez. Come on, dude. The check isn't even cold yet. And like the money is like still, it just got transferred. And it's like, okay, all right. We'll take that.
Another question from a viewer. What kind of camera did you start with and what do you use now?
That's an interesting question because I did start with film. I started with Nikon. That seemed like the camera to go to. With film, as soon as I went to digital, I switched over to Canon because after research, it seemed like that was the way to go. So yeah, good question.
That's very interesting. So do you prefer film or digital? Like I understand the ease of use. Do you want the soup or do you just like the Photoshop import and put a little filter on it and call it good?
Yeah, not that I use filters, but I love digital. I guess the one thing I miss about the black and white, I miss black and white with film. To me, the black and white was a little bit better looking with film. I do convert now and it still looks good, but that's the one thing I miss with film. But yeah, I love the quickness of it. I can get my clients' photos right away, and you see it right away as you're shooting. Just turn the camera around, show them the photo, instead of having to wait 3 days for a contact sheet, then having to order prints from the contact sheet. So I don't miss those days at all.
It's interesting you brought up Nikon. So I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember the Volkswagen Beetle commercials where you would have like a pink Volkswagen and then you have a light blue Volkswagen and they would be on top of each other? And it was this was the advertising agency. It's called the Love Bug, right? It's called the Love Bug. Right, so this advertiser says, well, I'm going to have one bug mounting another. And then they did the VW bus, right? And then they came out and said, this is the babe. Okay. So that advertiser made a shit ton of money, and Doyle Dane and Barbach was the advertising agency. I've been marketing. So they're sitting down and they're in New York, and he gets invited into the agency, and he's kind of he's been with the agency for a little bit, but he was just, this Volkswagen campaign just blew up. So they had this new thing, and it was the Nikon camera, and it was coming to the United States. And this was going to go against Kodak and any of the other companies that were American based. And it was from Japan. And there was a lot of anti-Japanese sentiment during this time. Mm-hmm. So everyone's sitting there, and they've got Chinese food boxes, just all pizza boxes all over the place. Cigarettes, it's just, you could walk in and cut a ring of cigarette smoke and bite into it. Their ties are, all over the place. They're sweat stained. I mean, these guys are in there for, hours trying to come up with, how do we pitch this Japanese camera? And this guy who is world renowned now and gets fired for saying this goes, I know what we can do, from the folks who brought you Pearl Harbor. Nikon.
Wow.
and right. So like me, but like, when it wasn't okay to say these things. And right. It's funny you mentioned that, because that's kind of what I want to get into, is that when you look at the political correctness of today, it was different back then. I mean, you could kind of get away and say things like that, and you may lose your job, but you could go and work for another company in a New York minute. Right. How do you think the political correctness, the DEI, the sensitivity of customers, has it changed your approach on how you interact, or is it pretty much you're just being you and you're never going to change?
No, I don't give a damn. I'm going to be myself, because that's all such bullshit. It's like, if I'm allowed to say that on your show, but no, that's just, I have no patience for that. I'm not going to change. I know people do try to give in, but nope. I'm going to be myself and take me as I am, because I'm not going to be politically correct. I'm not going to be, I'm not woke. If you want to be woke, I'm not the guy for you, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah. So. Yeah.
So, Liv, any other questions we've got? And if we don't, I want to also say you can go over to barrymorgenstein.com. It's right above his head right there. Do you have any shoots going on right now? Where can they find you? How do they get a hold of you? I mean, I don't think you do house calls. So what's the easiest way to set up a time to do a shoot with you, and how does that work out?
Yeah, well, I'm easy to find. Go to my website. My phone number is there. My email. I'm all over social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, just under my name. Instagram is Barry M Photo. Facebook is my name. People reach out to me. That's how I get most of my work, is through social media. So easy to find. Yeah, my studio's in New York City, 26th Street. I do go on location if it's enough people that I'm shooting. So I could do location shoots. We go to offices, corporate. I shoot lawyers, doctors, real estate people. And as you know, we travel to different states, Virginia. We did shoot in Jupiter, Florida, almost 2 years ago, which was great. Same thing. We did like I do in Virginia. We did like a weekend of headshots. We did the Trump Golf Club, National Golf Club in Jupiter. So we had a nice room rented out, a nice kind of a suite that we stayed in, but used it as a studio. So
Oh, cool.
So I do.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great shoot. Yeah.
And you offer discounts for veterans?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Right.
Gold Star families, I do not charge. I shoot for free.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
We know all the Gold Star moms in the Delmarva area. We used to work with them, and I'll spread your name around sparingly because it's all you need is 500 free photo shoots. But it sounds like you're the type of guy who would probably do it without a blink.
Yeah, definitely. Because a lot of them now appear on. You get Gold Star families that'll be do TV appearances. And they may need photos, but so that's my. But veterans always get discounts too, for sure.
Unless they waive them. So, listen, I'll be honest. I waived. First of all, I thought the deal you gave us was incredibly kind to begin with, based upon doing 3 different outfits and multiple poses. You didn't overcharge. You didn't even charge me for what you should have. And then, one of the lady that said I was a tall drink of water who did my makeup. And by the way, how are you? If she, and she's like, hey, you get a veteran discount. And I'm like, I don't want a veteran. I'm already getting an amazing deal. So we were just so thankful that the deal was so reasonable and you're so down to earth. And so I think that was what everyone said, was just that we walked in and we immediately were like, oh my God, what are we doing here? Like we should just go to a Glamour Shots. We don't belong here. And it's funny because who was the person at the door, Liv?
Cynthia.
So Cynthia goes, hi, we're doing shoots today. And I'm like, oh, well, that's good because I've got an appointment, And I was kind of like, because she looked at us like, what are you guys doing? And but it wasn't a negative. It was just like the fact that we can go in T-shirt and jeans and just be normal, everyday people. And you guys were so accepting and so kind. And it was just a great experience. So we recommend it to anybody. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right.
Did you go on tour with any of the rock bands you photographed?
Oh, that's a good one.
Actually, good question too. But actually, no, I never did. It was always when they came to New York for the most part, New York, New Jersey venues, and I would just shoot them for magazines or record companies. But yeah,
did you smoke a joint with any of them?
I didn't smoke one, but I didn't have to when I went on Willie Nelson's bus.
Yeah, you just contact high, right? You're just you're just getting it.
It really did smell like that. It was like, as soon as I got on the bus, I was like, whoa, yeah. So.
Bobby Richardson says, Barry, how did you make Matt look so good? That was God. That was God. That wasn't Barry. Just kidding.
No special effects. I don't use filters. That's how he looks.
He doesn't. That's how I look. I appreciate it.
And Deirdre's watching. She has a question.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, Deirdre.
Since Matt and Olivia
okay,
are
time
too
out. Wait, time out before you read it. Hold on. Listen, I believe, and maybe Barry, I don't know how you are, but in a business relationship, if money's not changing hands and a contract's not involved, I believe you make a personal relationship with somebody before asking them about business. I don't want Barry to think that the reason I am helping or trying to promote him or he's promoting me is because we have any expectations of each other. I just want to make sure that's clear. I'm going to let this question go. No, you just wait till you hear it. You'll understand. But yeah, okay. I truly believe that, like Damani Felder, like we talked for 2 years before I asked Damani for anything. It's important to me to build that. Look at Wimkin. Wimkin tried to recruit me to be, a gold sponsor for their show. And it took me 2 years to even have the conversation. So I'm not one of those people, but ask the question, but just know that this isn't canned, Barry. I promise.
This is Deirdre.
I didn't pay. Go ahead.
All right. Since Matt and Olivia are too shy to ask, what recommendations or suggestions could you offer for the show to get some guests to come on? Example, Megyn Kelly or other high profilers.
For my suggestion to get them on your
Yes,
show?
your suggestion to get our show off the
See,
ground.
Deidre, she's working the angles, dude. She's
Yes.
like, I need to hire her as PR. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. She is pretty good.
you don't have to answer that, Barry.
I don't. Well, there's people I know. I don't know about Megyn because that's a little tougher. But I know some people I wanted to definitely be on your show. I mentioned some names I had to shoot that I think would be good to get on. I can maybe help with contacts for sure. I don't know.
We've already kind of done this.
Megyn,
Yeah. Listen, if we've already laid that groundwork, and I appreciate it. And having Barry here is, in my opinion, you're going to hear how smart this guy is. And we don't just bring anyone on the show. It's not our thing. We like to make sure somebody who's going to add value. So, hey, no pressure, right, bud? So let's get into it. I appreciate all the questions. We're also, yeah.
I want to know the name
Elizabeth. That's. Well, let me explain. Olivia, do you want to explain this real quick so he can understand the story of the cats?
Joseph Hill.
That's a pretty cool.
What are you talking about? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, explain it. So, who the cat is, what her name is, and what the story is, so I can show him the photos.
So, this is Jennifer.
Okay.
And as soon as I came on camera, she's my cat. She follows me everywhere, so she had to be on camera. And she would just stand right in front of the camera and block my face. And she's always on. This is always what she is doing. So she's got her own perch behind me right there.
Oh,
and she has no decency, and she likes to groom herself on camera, and her back legs sticking straight up. So
that's a great shirt.
Here's the shirt.
And here's the shirt.
The shirt is, it says Yenny. She's on a stripper pole with diamonds all over her. And behind her, it says cats. And, so we created this shirt. And
instead of girls.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And that's exactly what it is. And our new puppy is Ash. And I could not have one without the other. So high demand, people said, we want an Ash puppy shirt. And so now we have the Ash Kicker dog in a Superman pose, and they're a part of the show. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. I'm glad I asked about the cat then.
Yeah, he's a good setup. So guys, go buy those shirts at thedumshow.com. Let's get into this. We got a lot to do. Anything else, Liv? Or are we good to go? I'm not doing the feet pics one.
No, Joseph Hillstrom said, "Did you get your training from Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite?" I haven't even watched.
I've never watched the movie.
I've never watched the movie.
I never saw that movie, so I don't get the reference. But
we don't. None of us get it because I can't stand that guy. So I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
Barry, do you put in bids for photographing at the White House, or do they have to call you? Would love to see you shoot pics of Melania and Usha. Here's the question. Before you answer that, you have a book coming out, and I really want. First of all, I want to sell it. So whatever I need to do, I want to sell it on my site, and you got to come back for that. But how do you get contracted for this? And then tell us about your book.
As far as if I was going to shoot somebody like Melania, or I mentioned earlier, she's on my bucket list, and I would love to.
But how were you able to shoot Netanyahu and Trump? Did somebody call you? Did you? I got
a call from actually one of his attorneys, just happened to follow me on Facebook, and they this was 2016. It was 6 months before the first election that Trump won. It was their first official meeting, and I got a call on a Saturday, and the attorney called me and said, "Hey, can you be at Trump Tower, New York tomorrow morning, Sunday at 7:00 in the morning? We have an important guest coming." And they didn't even know who it was, actually. They just knew it was an important guest, and they needed photos. So I said, absolutely, I'll be there. So I was there. And literally, it was probably 5 minutes before I was supposed to go in that I found out it was Benjamin Netanyahu. And it was actually a cool story because at first, I had to wait for them to bring him in to go into the residence. So I was in the lobby. So I'm just sitting there, and I'm sitting next to a Secret Service guy. I just happened to glance out the window. Next thing I know, I see like almost 10 SUVs. It was like out of a movie. They're coming around. They do this circle. Guys get out of the car with these submachine guns, and they march Netanyahu right past me in the lobby. I'm just watching this whole thing go by. I was like, well, this is pretty cool. And so basically, they said you have about 3 minutes. They're going to start talking. They brought me up to the residence. I didn't get introduced to anybody. It was real quick. I think I met Jared Kushner, and I think Steve Bannon was there. I didn't know who he was at the time, but I'm pretty sure he was there.
Wow, that's pretty big.
And they said, yeah, you have 2 minutes to just start snapping away. So I got this really cool shot of them talking, and it's that black and white that now I'm pretty proud of. So
That's incredible.
yeah, it was a pretty cool story.
You got 2 minutes, and you're just kind of like,
Oh,
And these are like two of my heroes. These are two of my favorites. I just think they're like two Churchills. So that's who I compare them to. So I'm like, this is pretty great. Capturing them.
yeah,
together.
that's what the prostitute said to me during our first sexual experience when I was younger. You got 2 minutes, and I'm like, what am I going to do with the additional, minute and 45 seconds? So,
Churchill.
yeah. Oh God, I love history buffs. Here's a video. It's just an intro. It's from Ballast Books, and it's going to be available when exactly? Barry, tell us what's in the book.
We're looking at fall. So this is back to my rock and roll stuff. My wife did that promo, which is pretty nice. But yeah, we signed with Ballast Books, which is a great publishing company. They actually do a lot of books with veterans too. They did a book on Eddie Gallagher, who I did a photo shoot with him and his wife, Andrea. So they did his book. They're there. That's Eddie and Andrea. Yeah. With Andy he's the head of Ballast. So we were lucky to sign with them. They've been great so far. We're really excited. And I don't think they've really done a rock and roll or a music book. So it's a tabletop, what do they call it? Coffee table books, whatever those are.
Yeah, coffee table book, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be, so we're excited. So I'm going through the editing process now because as I mentioned earlier, I used to shoot slides and negatives. So I'm in the process of scanning all the ones that I think I want to use, going through them. So there's like thousands of slides and negatives I've been going through the past few weeks. So we're almost done with that process. We hope to be done. I have it released in the fall, and hope to have some book signings, and I'm pretty excited. But people have been on me for years for like, say you got to do a rock book or a music book. Well, just get it. Like my wife always says, you have to have your legacy out there.
Yeah.
So so I decided to do it. I got a couple of kicks in the butt from people I knew. So okay, you better start doing this because you got to do it. And we found this publisher, and it was a good fit. And we're excited.
Well, when you got to let me know what page the Dumb Show is going to be on, I'll sign it for you, of course, because I'm sure that's no. But honestly, I want an autographed copy. I want to see it, and we absolutely want to sell it on our site. And obviously, we don't care about proceeds or anything. I'm sure our members will love. Yeah.
Thank you. That'd be very cool.
Cool. Quick break, and then we're going to come back and get the show rolling. It's a great 37-minute intro, and we're going to learn more about Barry, talk a little bit more about him, but we really want to get to the topics of the day. There's a lot of news out there. Folks, thedumbshow.com/donate if you have not had a chance, and judging by the emails tonight, you haven't. You can go to thedumbshow.com/donate on PayPal, on Venmo, or mail it in, and we won't get that tonight, but we will get it at some point. Here are all the details.
The Dumb Show is built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled our funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time. And we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, that will be amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps more than you know. Visit thedumbshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or mail, every bit helps to keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
The real question I have on here is how can we be sure that this guy's really a member of MS-13? I don't know.
It's very questionable. I have no idea how to tell.
I think it stands for Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
MS.
Mississippi, yep.
Yeah, this guy's obviously a down-home boy.
He could be a brain surgeon. They could have gotten the wrong guy, maybe a brain surgeon.
Yeah, that's a master's in science, I guess is what that would be.
Yeah,
either way, how are we supposed to tell? I don't know. I was watching Kristi Noem and standing in front of the Venezuela jail, and I looked at all those people, and none of them look like anyone who mowed my lawn. So I'm pretty confident we might be good. So this gem we all may remember was a gentleman who yelled at us in Spanish, and what he was essentially saying was telling all illegals how to squat in houses, and then the federal government couldn't deport them because he was officially a squatter, and certain laws would protect him until the probate and the arrest or the paperwork came through, which could take months, half of a year, even a year in some cases, and would teach illegals how to exploit the U.S. government. Made some pretty rude comments. Everyone will remember it when they see it and remember this guy. And he was gloating. He was throwing around stacks of $100 bills and saying, "Come and get me, I dare ya." Well, here's a little taste of what he did.
Mi gente, he pensado invadir una casa en United States. Ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla. Capichi, muchachos, aquí en United States también.
Okay. Anyway, so we all remember this guy. We had him on the show. I wanted to go ahead and give you an update on him, and I'm sad to say that Lionel Moreno, he encouraged illegal migrants to invade and abandon houses in TikTok, was a TikTok influencer who made tens of thousands of dollars on the backs of Americans, has been deported to Venezuela and is no longer in the United States. Let's all sing taps for his...
I'm just so upset right now.
Yeah, it's sad, and I think ultimately we'll find a way to survive this.
I'll figure out a way to cope.
Very, very sad day.
I don't think we should get too comfortable celebrating. Yeah, he'll get an ACLU lawyer, and soon he'll be teaching at Columbia University. So you never know.
Yeah, or he's going to actually go ahead and become Colin Kaepernick's stunt double in the Netflix for Made movie. One of the two. I don't know. But Barry, your thoughts on this? Listen, isn't this, people are like, is this what you elected him for? Yes, this is exactly why. Right. This is why I elected him. Let's more. Right. So, what are your thoughts on this? How do you feel about all this? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we elected him for, and it's like, I mean, Tom Homan is amazing. He's another hero. It's just great. We've been in a clown insane world for 4 years, inviting these people in, encouraging these people, no matter who they rape and murder, children, women, children, and they were okay with that, letting these people in because I thought they were going to get votes. I don't know what they were thinking, why they just opened the borders, and why they didn't care about vetting these animals. I mean, it's just like, good, get them the hell out. The adults are back in charge. Ship them out, put them in prison. I love seeing that picture with Kristi Noem in front of the gang members. That's another feature I do on my website is today's photo I wish I took. And, it might be an old, Grace Kelly or whatever from back in the day or something. But I posted that photo, said, today's photo I wish I took. Kristi Noem smiling in front of these disgusting gang members and that photo is upsetting people on the left or Democrats. They're upset. They didn't think it was nice that she's and wearing a nice watch. I guess she was wearing expensive watches, the
$60,000 Rolex, because success is really failure in the United States.
Yeah, good for her. Capitalism works, and she's a success. I admire success, so good for her. I love her watch.
Yeah, she earned her money the right way. Yeah, she didn't,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
She didn't earn it in politics.
All right, so I'm happy about her. I'm happy about her watch, and I was sent out of the country.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for Tamar Bush, $10, a gift. We appreciate your gift. Thanks for getting us started tonight. The dummies are amazing. They're probably in transfixed on you and forget, but they all always come through. I think we've hit donations 12 months in a row almost, and it's almost been a full year since Facebook and Mark, Zuckerberg decided to go ahead and take away our funding. And, it's the way it is. Tom Homan is somebody you mentioned, and I've got a great video of Tom Homan, which is just beautiful as he's walking down, which looks to be the gallery, like out of a hotel or a gallery connection from like a mall into a hotel, or what they have these in Washington, they have these in Los Angeles. You and I both stayed in plenty of hotels where they have like a galleria entryway into a mall. This is what he looked like he's going to, and on his left, behind him, his right, is an NBC News promo, and then a reporter who he just trounces, and this is golden. So this is for Tom Homan. Just the way he does this is magical. Watch this.
Are you treating migrants humanely? But there's been reports of them on planes with no water,
That was a bunch of
complaining.
crap. That was a bunch of crap.
What do you mean a bunch of crap?
ICE detention facilities have the highest detention standards in the industry. Any of the ICE standards, our detention standards are higher than any state or federal or local facility in the nation.
Yeah, you may love me, but you keep talking that shit about that city ham and country ham stuff, Tamara, and I'm going to have to go to IHOP, okay? Because, your restaurant is great and all, but this constant abuse about my lack of knowledge on the procurement of ham is just a little much, lady. It's my local restaurant here. Good family friend who we love her. Well, I didn't know the difference between country ham and city ham when I moved here, and she has not let me forget it for 4 years. So just thought I'd tell you. Maybe let's listen to the rest.
In the world. Someone should go to the ICE website, look at PBNDS 11, performance-based detention standards, and look at our detention standards, highest in the industry.
But are you sure you're only getting illegal criminal migrants? I mean, there were some pictures over the weekend of people that claim to be students, Brazilian students, who were showing examples of bruises on their arms from American deportation flights.
That's ridiculous, but if they want to make a complaint, it'll be investigated.
But your assurance is what?
The men and women of ICE are professionals. We do this for a living. And I can tell you, I ran ICE for years. I was the first director of ICE came up through the ranks. Again, these men and women are professional, highest detention standards in the industry. We take care of these people. But we're going to enforce the law, and we're not going to apologize for doing it. And
you're going to do it in a sort of public way do you need to use the big military planes? Is that part of a sort of shock and awe tactic? No. They haven't been used before, have they, for migrants?
No, we got President Trump. We're going to use all the government to secure our border, which is the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. And we're going to enforce laws to this country. It's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's a crime. When you cause a crisis as big as the Biden administration caused, when you overwhelm the Border Patrol, but they can't do their national security job, that's when the fentanyl come across, kill 250,000 Americans. That's when you have a 600% increase in sex trafficking. That's when you have a record number of no-inspected terrorists coming across an open border. President Trump's going to secure the border as promised to the American people. We're going to enforce immigration laws. That's what we're going to do, without apology. We're on board. We're going to go forward. You're going to see it get a hell of a lot bigger in the near future.
Barry, what is about Homan that you think resonates with so many people? Because it's not, dashing good looks or the ability to wax poetry and his intellect.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's a regular guy, but he's like he gets down to business. He's going to get the job done. He's a badass. He came in. He's fixing the damage that's been done to the country. I mean, and the people are fighting him. The left, the media. How do you argue with that? How are you against stopping child trafficking? How are you against innocent girls being raped and murdered in our country? Fentanyl overdoses that are coming out. How do you fight that? Why does that make you angry? Like, what kind of sick minds is that? And so it feels like it feels like it's such a relief that it feels like sanity is back in the country. These normal people, that's the way to think. That's what law enforcement is. That's the way it should be. Great example. This back in the other Biden administration, a good buddy of mine, I don't know if you guys know Gary Brugman. He was a Border Patrol agent. It was a kind of famous story. He ended up getting pardoned by President Trump, but he was doing his job. Mm-hmm. Legal, came over the border. He tackled him, arrested him. My buddy, the Border Patrol agent, got arrested for tackling and hurting the poor little, illegal. He spent 2 years in jail. And then he was doing his job. This is the shit that was going on during this. So it's the opposite of now. Now it's law and order is back. Common sense is back, as President Trump always says, just common sense. So yeah, I get passionate about that because that just makes me nuts. It's like how we let this happen in our country and how people are complaining now that we have common sense people fixing it.
Yeah.
Gary, I get more passionate about this than I do with my photography, I think.
Listen.
Yeah, there he is.
Gary Brugman, and he, I know the name, and I haven't had a chance to read up on his story, but I know he well. Olivia, how do you feel about your people, coming across the border and illegally?
My people.
Hey, Seuss, Rumble Chat donated $10. Let's get taken care of, except the mainstream media and politicians. Great show and guest, Matt. Thank you, Jesus. We always appreciate you and appreciate your donations, man. You're always there for us. Liv, why don't you do something about all your people coming across the border?
My people, well, considering I've never even been to Mexico, I don't know I don't speak the language. I've never been there. I don't know how much I do. I don't even look Hispanic, so
sorry,
I don't think they'd listen
Apple
to me.
Cash isn't available here.
It's okay, Siri. Just shut up. I didn't ask you that.
Whoa. I'm like, I didn't say
So
anything.
just go. What are you? She's supposed to be Irish, you know? I'm supposed to be like, come está, Dito. I just don't. Okay. So, Liv, we have a chance to have an amazing governor here who I believe will be the 2028 presidential nominee. He has the billionaire class. He's got the root of the Americans. Trump is pushing him. Trump has brought him into the fold. Yes, he didn't want him here in Virginia because Virginia was very purple. And honestly, Youngkin was like, I don't need your help. Don't come here. And it wasn't to hurt Donald Trump. It was just a matter of Youngkin didn't want to hurt his chances because it is a purple state. But there's been a lot of wind of change. And he has found a leader of Tren de Aragua. And that is a huge move. He is slashing and writing executive orders to dismantle a lot of these leftist policies. What do you think about our state, which Virginia is a very nice place, beautiful place to live, but there are a lot of places that have a ton of illegals, ton of Afghanis in here. Your thoughts on what Youngkin's doing, what Trump's doing, Homan's doing? I want to get your thoughts too.
I think Youngkin's doing a great job. I would be ecstatic if he runs and gets the nominee for president in 2020.
You think he's going to run?
I think so. He's kind of been at the forefront with Trump. He was there at the inauguration, and he's been in the public eye a lot. And considering that he's only got 6 months left in office as governor, usually they're kind of just like standing down and you don't really see much of them. I don't think when we first moved here, I don't even remember the governor's name when we first moved here. I don't think I saw anything from him once.
Northam. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So, yeah, I think he's going to run. I really do.
Yeah.
And I would be very, very happy if he did.
Well, he's smart. He's first of all, he's independently wealthy. Comes from the tech world. Has done an amazing job. Has been fairly veteran orientated, pro-gun, anti-abortion. He didn't have a very good midterms in 2022, and Republicans got waxed. But honestly, that's just the big donor money that wanted to make Virginia in play for the election. So, Barry, have you had a chance to see Youngkin or hear about him? Because that's important because we're in Virginia.
Yeah, I probably don't know about him as much as you guys do. I mean, I like him a lot, and I think he's a good conservative. And I never thought about it, actually, because I guess my mind is kind of set on just continuing with J.D. Vance would take over kind of and run. But that's interesting. I'm sure Youngkin would be great, too. I wonder if they would go against each other, or maybe J.D. would get his turn, and then maybe Youngkin would come back, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about him, but he seems like he's a great governor and a good conservative. So,
yeah,
as long as we get a good either one, I probably would be happy with. So, because I really like Vance a lot. I love it. I thought when Trump picked him as his VP, I was very happy. I was like, that's the guy that I wanted. So,
yeah, he's definitely being a bulldog, and I think if he continues to bulldog for Trump, it's going to be hard. You know, he has a lot to learn about this position,
right?
And if I can see those votes that I anticipate being a little bit tighter in the Senate, him rallying the Republicans, so far he's been doing a bang up job. The fact that they got the appropriations bill out of House, that means a lot to me. Senate also standing in lockstep. Republicans are standing together. So as long as JD can continue to do that, then he's got a really good chance to at least run on the ticket under the GOP numbers. Youngkin he's a Kennedy for Republicans, and he's got that look. He's got that demeanor.
Yeah,
yeah,
I see that.
Let's listen to this real quick.
I just put in a donation. For some reason, it did not pop up. So it was JD Stillwell. He says, for the prayers and the love the DUM Nation showed last night for my brother Mike, all is well. So. Yeah,
Mike Stillwell went through open heart surgery late last night. JD's brother, we all said some prayers for him. It seems like he is recovering and stable, and that is wonderful news. I believe he had a 90% blockage in one of his arteries, which is not good. So it's great to see and great to hear, and we'll just continue to pray. Thank you for the donation. I'm sorry it did not pop up. I know why it didn't, and it will pop up from now on. I apologize, sweetheart.
No worries.
Let's watch this video real quick and just listen.
Well,
to
Kaylee,
this.
you said it perfectly. For 3 years, I've been declaring that Virginia is not a sanctuary state And President Biden, with his open border policies, turned America into a sanctuary country. Well, with President Trump's leadership and the great group of appointees that have been confirmed, we went to work. And today, this collaboration between state police, our Department of Corrections, Homeland Security, the FBI, ICE, and lots of folks from the U.S. Attorney's Office, we went to work and they brought down one of the top MS-13 operatives in America. And let me tell you, today, Virginia is safer, America is safer, and nowhere is there sanctuary for these violent illegal immigrants.
You know, when we were listening to that previous video, it's amazing that they qualify criminal illegal immigrants when that's redundant. If you are an illegal, you're already a criminal.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
So, Barry,
so Tom Holland, that's it.
You were a rock and roller, so you weren't always a conservative, right? I mean, you had to have some liberal views.
Well, that's a funny story. I was very liberal. I grew up late 60s, early 70s, had hair down to here. I was a rock and roller. You know, it's like that was just the thing. It's like I always attribute to. I mean, they always attribute to the quote to Winston Churchill. Back to Churchill. I don't know if it's true that he said it, but if you're under 30 and you're not a liberal, you have no heart. If you're over 30 and you're not a conservative, you have no brain. So it's kind of, and it was the times too. And I always laugh because the first person I voted for when I turned the voting age was Jimmy Carter.
Oh my Lord.
Right,
Seriously,
exactly.
dude. Oh my God.
But that's the mind of a young person, because I was a rock and roller and I heard this interview with Jimmy Carter. He loved the Allman Brothers and Bob Dylan. I'm like, all right, that's a cool guy. I'm voting for him. So that, stupid. That's how young people think. But and now I'm a Reagan. I just love Ronald Reagan like I love Donald Trump. So things change. But the funny thing is, my dad was always a conservative. My parents were always conservatives, and my dad and I used to always get into it together. And I think he was thrilled when I did a complete 180 and probably became even more conservative than he did. And I became, and if you're interested how I became a conservative, was actually immediate. It was almost immediate change. It was 9/11. I changed like that after 9/11. It was like I started watching Fox News, and I did my whole opinion of how the world is. It's just, I guess, that it was almost like I hate to use the term, but it was almost like a born again feeling, because I really just was awakened to common sense. And, so yeah, but yeah, so I was a young liberal.
Have you ever read did you read A Modern Chronicle by Winston Churchill by chance?
No, I do have a great biography on him, but I don't think that's the one.
Yeah, well, this is his own work. So yeah, It's A Modern Chronicle. Go read it. Okay. I'm a big Winston Churchill guy. I've read through all the Winston Churchill chronicles, and I'm a big fan too. Like World War II is probably my third subject that I'm pretty well versed on. The Kennedy assassination being number one. So it's like. Yeah, like I see all these people on these shows, and I'm just like, oh God, come on, dude.
One day for another time, I'd love to get your take on that too, because I'm always back and forth with that too, especially with new things coming out. But
this is what we do not want to do on this show right now, because I will go down with you, and they love it. The fans love it because like I got it in my head, and I've been studying it since I've been 6, and so I'm a really interesting perspective on it. But most people want to hear the smoking gun and how it happened, and I'm more interested in the why. And once you do the why, there's only so many conclusions that you can come to, because then the how reveals itself, and there's only so many people who could have pulled this off, and they all start with a U and end with SA. So, but that's just
okay. Yeah, let's talk about this privately. But going back, I would love to hear your take on that. But like sure. You saying earlier, I'm a big World War II fan too, or not fan. I don't want to use the word fan, but buff, I guess. I'm fascinated by World War II. I love that time period in our history, the 40s, 30s, 40s. So I love everything about it.
Do you know Tony Chanel by chance?
No,
Olivia.
Tony Chanel. He's a pro.
I know. No, I wonder what kind of work he does.
One of our listeners, Frank Wood, just donated $20. Thank you, Frankie. Just had a question if you knew somebody. And you know, unfortunately, just because there are 1.5 million photographers out there, just like there's 1.5 million podcasters out there, you know, but I'm sure there's some photographers who have you ever done co-op work? Have you ever done work with another photographer and you just do your own?
My own thing.
That's cool. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Let's go into something that I absolutely love today is Tim Burchett. I showed a video of him last night, and he was coming out of the Capitol building, and he was just very reflective on how uneventful and unproductive the Congress is right now, and how they're not passing Donald Trump's policies, and they're just not getting it through their heads that this is what the American people want. It was a very refreshing video, and he even said, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for doing this and saying this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Here it is. And then I've got another one today just to show you. This guy's becoming one of my favorite politicians, and he's in Tennessee. I can't vote for him, but it was just really refreshing to hear this. And then I've got another one that's kind of funny. So watch this.
I'm kind of disgusted, really. I mean, freaking Rashida Tlaib's got an amendment on here to, I don't know, is going after our friends, I'm sure. And we allow those crazy amendments on there. They get 3 votes, and I can't even get a bill on the floor to defund the Taliban or stop selling genetic material to our enemies. 5 bills. I guess the major one was, I'm sure they'll do a victory lap on this one. Walk-in coolers and freezers. It was basically the Biden administration had put some terrible rules and regulations, and it outlawed our basically American manufacturers, and it created an inlet for the foreign and our adversaries to do business. So I mean, it's a good piece of legislation, need to be passed, but we're not fulfilling President Trump's Doge agenda. Remember this, Congress, Republicans, we got about a 3-person lead maybe, and I'm sure I'll catch hell for saying this, but we didn't. Our approval rating is right above those people that are scraping Teslas right now, and you know we're running around the country hollering about all this stuff, and Trump won overwhelmingly because of the Doge agenda, cutting this stuff out, and we're not cutting nothing out. So, yeah, I'm disgusted. Anyway, hopefully we'll do better next week.
All right, so it's next week. So now I'm going to show you how his day went today, give you a little update, because listen, I'll take that all day long. Yeah, it's drudgery. It looks like the sky is gray and not blue behind him. He's having a bad day, but this is what I love about Kat Kammack and other politicians is they document the drudgery of politics. And then he did this today, and I thought this was just one of the most amazing things. Watch this, and then we'll comment. And really, it's to the state of the Democratic Party, the mentality of this entitled generation that everything's owed to them, is that they can accomplish anything if they just go to college and get themselves in debt, and then mom and dad are going to bail them out, whatever it is. Here's this video. Watch this.
Congressman Perry, do you trust Trump's national security team to keep our war plans top secret?
Do you trust your mother every night to fix your hot pockets and make sure your Game Boy is turned on?
The coolest politician ever.
Dude,
I don't know this guy. I don't know this guy. I'm surprised I haven't seen him before.
Yeah, Tennessee, Tim Burchett.
That's great. I got to keep an eye out for him.
Well,
he kind of reminds me of John Kennedy, too. He comes up with some great lines, too.
Yeah, but, I mean, if you're his troll, you didn't see that he was in a bad mood the other day? I mean, you're going to walk into that buzzsaw, and he certainly did. I mean, he just got absolutely tattooed. We'll kind of put a bow on this, but let's get serious, right? So the thing about the Democratic Party today is that they don't have an identity. Donald Trump not only reestablished and took the greatest parts of the Republican Party and accentuated them around Reagan-focused principles and Christian conservatism, but he stole the platform of the Democratic Party, free speech. secure borders, strong military, civil rights.
Right.
Now, people are like, wait a second, civil rights. No. He had a mini civil rights movement because white people and Asians were being marginalized by affirmative action.
Right.
And the whole point of affirmative action, the whole point of civil rights is to ensure an equal footing for everyone, not based on race, color, creed, or sexual disposition. So when you base DEI practices and affirmative action on you're white, you can't get this job, that's reverse racism. So this is a mini civil rights movement for him. So he's done all this stuff and he steals it from them because they can't simply say, you know what, we agree with them on this. Let's work together and get some credit. Instead, they just go ahead and steal their platform and take the opposite position. Are you seeing the same things, Barry, Olivia, you too? I want to get you guys' thoughts, kind of put a bow on this, but can the Democratic Party recover from this? And do we see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel for them at all? Go ahead, Barry.
For the Democrats, no way. They're so far out there, crazy to the left. As my friend Chris Plant always says, that they're not liberals, they're the left. And the left is here, and they're dangerous. And they're so crazy. How can they come back? I mean, you would think after the election, maybe they would have said, okay, maybe we have to move to the middle a little bit. They've just gone a little even crazier. They've gone even, they've just gone completely nuts, and they've completely lost control, and they're insane. So I don't see how there's hope for them in the near future while I'm alive. I don't see it happening.
Liv, is there any distinction between the left and liberals anymore? Because I've made that when we first started the show. I said, hey, come on, not all liberals are leftists, but if you're seeing this stuff that's going on, how can you discern between the two now? Is there any difference are there any blue collar Democrats, blue dog Democrats, liberals anymore? Or is it just this extreme left and the party has no chance of recovery?
It's very rare to see a blue collar Democrat because if you are a blue collar Democrat and you say you are, you're ostracized from the party. So you instantly become a Republican. They don't want blue collar Democrats. They want insane people that will agree with them. And until they can admit their faults and what they've done over the last 4 years, how the party is messed up, you can't fix something until you admit you did something wrong.
Right.
And they haven't. And until they can get rid of their Trump derangement syndrome and their hatred for Trump, because that's the only thing they're thinking about.
That's what they are.
Hatred for Trump.
Right.
They stand for anything Trump says, they stand for the opposite. They don't care what it is, just like they're offended that we're deporting Tren de Aragua gang members. They're offended by it. Just like Nancy Pelosi. Just like Nancy Pelosi defended MS-13 when Trump called them animals. I mean, until they can get over their TDS and admit that they made a lot of mistakes, then no, they're not going to move forward. And what's going to happen is they're not going to move forward while Trump's in office. So they're going to lose 2028. And then if it's J.D. Vance or anyone that Trump's endorses, they're just going to continue down that road. So unless they can get off of Trump's ass, I don't see him moving forward anytime in the near future.
There's only one answer for the Democratic Party right now, and they have to swallow their pride and have to say the following: we are going to follow the will of the American people. And although we don't agree with the way Donald Trump is doing things, and we are going to provide opposition, if they propose common sense legislation, really honest common sense legislation that doesn't go against the values of our party and our constituents, then we will work together. If you don't do that, you guys don't recover from this, because this has happened before. And where it happened before was Bill Clinton, because Bill Clinton brought both parties to play. And you can say whatever you want about Bill Clinton, but the guy got both sides of the aisle to work together. Joe Biden wasn't this great unifier. He was supposed to be. He was supposed to be Jesus on stilts, and he wasn't.
Hey, you could, like you said, you could say what you want about Bill Clinton, but he loved America. He wasn't a Marxist, a crazy Marxist trying to destroy America. So it's just so different. And if I can quote Chris Plant one more time, as he said, today's Democratic Party is closer on the political spectrum to Lee Harvey Oswald than John F. Kennedy, which is a kind of a funny line, but you know what? It's also the truth. It's scary.
That is a wonderful point.
Right. It's so true.
That is an incredible point.
Right. It's kind of shocking that it came to that. It's come to this, but it's true.
Well, there's a duality there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the duality is not only the black and white symmetry between good and evil, and Kennedy and Oswald, the epitome of good and evil, but the interesting point of this is that Oswald was a Marxist-Leninist and a communist, and a communist sympathizer. He worked for the Free Castro trade movement. He went to Russia. He lived there for a year and a half. He worked with the Russians and the oligarchs. A lot of people think he was a KGB double. We know these things. But the biggest part of this is that he was an extremist who used violence to propagate his ideology. That is also the left.
Absolutely.
And so when you look at that, it's a stark reminder that not only are they following in the suit from their ideological principles, they are moving farther and farther away from being Americans, which is law and order and love of country. That is the most alarming thing, because if you don't love the country and you don't care about our laws, then you are a lawless anti-American party. And that is dangerous. That is like Fox in the hen house type shit.
Right. Right. I mean, if you're okay with sending men into girls' bathrooms dressing women, you're very, that's sick. That's that's a very sick thing. And unfortunately, their side is okay with stuff like that. So
yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
We had a question.
Can I interrupt for a second, because I sort of I did see a question pop up I wouldn't mind responding to.
Sure, go ahead.
Somebody asked if I know Scott LeBedo, the artist in New York City. I didn't catch the gentleman's name who asked that. So that's what I'm
Maria asked that, and then it was I think JD asked it, or Joseph asked it also. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I do know Scott. Great guy. I don't know if you guys know who Scott LeBedo is, the famous artist from New York City, who's a major Trump conservative, very outspoken, gets arrested all the time for his protests, his very creative protests. But anyway, I do know him. I kind of like I like to think of myself. There's our boy Scott. I like to think of myself as Scott LeBedo light. I'm not quite as brave as him to do his things, but I'm an artist in New York and I'm outspoken. But I know him fairly well. And one of my closest friends, Chris Martini, directed the documentary Relentless Patriot, which was based on Scott's life, which everybody should see that, because I think it's streaming now. So if you don't mind me giving my buddy Chris a plug, it's a great documentary about a fascinating guy who's just a patriot, loves, like us, the veterans, loves America. He's a great artist. So yes, I've met him a few times. We went to the premiere. My wife and I went to the premiere of the film in New York, and Chris did an amazing job with the film. It's a really great documentary.
Can I tell you an interesting thing real quick? It's just so funny how such a big world, and immediately you and I have a connection. So Scott LeBedo, that flag he's holding in that picture is from Flags of Valor, a company that I used to be business development and marketing for Flags of Valor. And Brian Stortz went ahead and delivered it to him personally. So that flag was actually a company that I worked for and left Comcast as a VP to go work for Flags of Valor. So that's our connection. So it's kind of an interesting thing.
That's great. Yeah, great.
What your friend's site? What's the website?
Chris Martini.
Yeah,
the director. If you just look up his name, it's under it's Martini Productions, but he's on social media. I'm sure it's under there. I don't want to get the site wrong, but it's Martini Productions. Hope he's listening now. Maybe he'll.
Is it Triple Martini?
Yes, Triple Martini. Yes.
Okay, that's cool. I just want to make sure. Listen, when you say plug, we're the same way, man. Like, we're always trying to help get our name out there. We love small business, and we're always trying to help and assist. So it is triplemartiniproductions.com. This is his site. It's got a very cool. That is a wonderful, wonderful shot right there.
He's a great patriot like us. A very, very talented filmmaker. He's done documentaries and films too. So, but we're great friends, and so I'm happy to give him a shout out.
This just gives Carrie vibes, dude. So that, like, this is like, to me, like Stephen King, Carrie. This is a great, or Children of the Corn, or a Jason film. Jason decides to get in a Chevelle or something. It's amazing. Anyway, love that. What's up,
Kevster just donated $21.10. We didn't get the
I did see that. Out. I am sorry, Kevster. We appreciate you guys, and thank you guys for helping us and donating to us. I'm glad we're getting to some people Oh, Paul Rivera is in with Liv. Got to get in early, working medical coverage for the Brash Rodeo in Kalispell tonight. We'll watch the rest on replay. $51.99. Paul, we love you.
Or Cow's Bell, as you guys lovingly call
Fork.
it.
Yeah, White Fork.
Paul Rivera's from the town I grew up in Montana. So
he slept with my wife, and an asshole watches my show. What a dick.
No, I never met him. The funny thing is, though, he actually is good friends with my old youth leader from church.
Who she slept with. So
No,
it's just,
oh
this is
my
not
God.
cool. You know what? We're going to a commercial. We're going to a commercial.
The DUM store is veteran-owned with a 5-star diamond rating for service and satisfaction. We offer quality products like coffee, shirts, hoodies, and hats, all made by veterans. Shop with confidence, backed by hundreds of 5-star reviews. Use code DUM10 to save 10%. Visit thedumshow.com today. Thank you for your support.
I'm a big fan of Charlie Kirk. I like Charlie Kirk. I think there are times when he should let his hair down a little bit and just kind of, just relax a little bit. But you know what? Some people say the same thing about me. So I always have to say something really positive about somebody, and then I always have to give a negative because that's just who I am. I critique. But I love how he brings Christianity to the forefront without apologizing for it. And I think anybody who brings their religion and wants to educate people without belittling them is a win for me. I don't care if it's Judaism. I don't care if you're a Buddhist. I don't care if you're a Mormon or a Christian or a Catholic and yes, Christians are Catholic. I get it. But my point being is if you have faith, you should never have to apologize for using it to help people understand your ideology. And I love that he does that. This is liberals summed up in 1 minute. And
this is going to be good.
This is how liberalism destroys the brain. Because Barry said it best. It is a pathway to leftism. And conservatism is not a pathway to fascism because fascism needs big government to succeed. And that is antithetical to conservatism. Mm-hmm. But socialism absolutely requires it, and so does the leftist ideology, and liberalism requires big government. So that's what happens.
I've heard that before.
Right. It's not like everyone goes, the Nazis were fascists. And I said, yes, they had fascist traits, but their belief structures were socialist in nature. They were all about big government. Here's Charlie Kirk dismantling a very pretty young lady whose brains, unfortunately, seem to have some
Did you say a pretty young lady on the left? Is that possible?
Well, but in 5 years, she'll have purple hair. She'll have a septum pierce that connects to her left nipple, and she'll have tattoos on her face that say "Men suck."
And she'll have a poodle that's painted rainbow colors.
Who was in the restaurant of Tammy's restaurant yesterday when we were at breakfast. And Tammy, you'll let anyone in your restaurant nowadays, and I bet she didn't know what City Ham was. So here is the video. Watch this. This is funny shit.
No, I'm speaking. 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 Thank you. So it's not, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the person. No, I'm talking about the person who is dealing with the pregnancy. I am not talking about the cells. I don't care. No, listen. The fetus, the whatever. I don't care about that right now until it is formed. If there is a 5-year-old child who is pregnant and the baby is 2 weeks in utero. Actually, they have, and they have given birth. There is one recorded case of a 5-year-old girl who gave birth.
Is that common?
Yes, not common. 5-year-olds get sometimes, and if they get pregnant, I think they should be able to have medical access to something that could save not only just their life, but like their livelihood.
How many? I'm curious.
I hope your daughter lives a very happy life and gets away from you.
Holy shit.
So that is really nasty.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
And they're nuts. They're absolutely certifiable. They're nuts.
They're freaking crazy.
If they can't get their point across, I'm just going to insult you.
Right.
And by the way, it's really sad, but it's 6. It's not 5. The little girl was 6 and it was like early 1900s. That's really sad. But yeah. But no, 5-year-olds don't get pregnant.
It doesn't. But see, this is the left's entire ideology. Let's take the most extreme case that's going to pull at your heartstrings. My friend is a Jewish lesbian transgender pirate with one leg and a hunchback. And
wait,
okay,
I know this.
You know, right? And you're like, you know what? I slept with her. She has a dagger tattoo on her ass. So. Okay, great. You win this one. Can we just address the other 66.9999999 million babies that have been literally murdered? And you can have the transgender Jewish lesbian one-legged pirate. It doesn't make any sense. Here, can I we have a guest here. 5199, Patricia Good. Great show as always. Patricia, thank you so much. We're humbled by these donations. We love you guys. Here's the argument, right? Okay, so let's get into this. Everyone gets to chime in. The argument is, when does life begin? So take a second. When does life begin? So I'll start with Liv. You can tell me your thoughts. And then Barry, I want to hear what your thoughts are. So go ahead, Liv. When does life begin?
At conception.
The moment conception, life, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Because as soon as that egg is fertilized, it starts to duplicate and it starts to turn into a human form. And now it takes a little bit to look like a human,
right?
But it starts at conception. And I know a lot of people know this. Barry doesn't know this. When I lived in Albuquerque, I took my sister to the Human Museum. I can't remember what it's called, where they have people donated their bodies to science.
Yeah, the body
museum, body. So I took my sister to that. They have a baby room where people have donated their babies that were they miscarried or something happened, and they have a baby in there from 8 weeks on all the way up to 40 weeks. And that 8-week-old baby, 8-week baby, looked like a human.
So is it 8 weeks or is it a conception?
I think it's a conception, but I mean,
but can you tell me why?
Why? Yeah. Because I don't know when the heartbeat is. Yes. I know when we were pregnant with Hayden, we heard her heartbeat at 8 weeks. I was 8 weeks pregnant.
Okay, so 8 weeks, but I'm not attacking you and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm trying to, so when we get these conversations, we can explain why. And I've got a really good understanding of how we can do it, and I want to share it with y'all, but I want to get your thoughts first. So why 8 weeks? I get, you hear heartbeat, chest wall cavity happens, you hear palpitations, you hear arrhythmia. I get it. But I'm talking from 0 to 8 weeks. Why is that a life?
Because it's got to form at some point. I mean, just because you can't hear the heartbeat until 8 weeks doesn't mean that it's not there. Okay. It has to form. It's not going to be the sperm fertilizes the egg and bam, you've got a human baby with a heartbeat and, 5 fingers, 10 fingers, 10 toes and blah, 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 blah. It has to form.
Okay.
And
fair enough.
It's got to grow.
Okay. And obviously, if you have a religious faith, we also believe in the soul and that could play, but you're not going to convince a liberal of that. But I have an idea. But Barry, I want to hear your thoughts too. When does life begin?
Well, actually, I'm not an expert on it, so I'm going to just say I agree with everything Olivia said. That just sounds right. I don't know. I think when the heart, starts to, or at conception. So I would just say that. Not an expert. I don't know when everything starts, but I think that's absolutely sounds right what Olivia said.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I mean, I knew the day I was pregnant with both my children. I just knew.
And that's great because I knew too, because I have super sperm. So I knew that. So it's like a shotgun, man. So 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 let's go down this path. You're not an expert. I love that you said that, because that so many people pretend to be. And Barry, you just earned another elevation with me, because when people say, hey, I don't know, that means a lot. But what is the difference between you and Barry, Liv?
He is a biological male and I am a biological female.
Right. But are there other differences?
There are. I can bear children. He cannot.
Right. What else?
I can't get pregnant.
Yeah. Can't get pregnant.
Our reproductive
okay,
stuff.
Cool. So those are physical differences. Yes. Now let's get nuance. Let's get some of the
more
other
weight at the gym.
More weight.
Exactly.
More weight in the gym. Okay. So those are the physical attributes, but there's also some other attributes, right? So like your hair color is not the same.
Yep.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Muscle density, height, weight are also a big thing. But something makes you. You think a certain way. and you process information. So some of you, he's an artist and he's very much independent upon one brain, and that's where he plays. And you are more of a analytical thinker from a mathematical standpoint, dates and times and stuff. So all of these things, when were these things determined?
I think they would have been determined at conception.
Right.
When the sperm and the egg meet.
Okay, good. So what specifically causes that? And this is great. Like when I was just looking into this, and I'm like, when does life begin? I found this, and I know other people may have said it because it's hard to have an original thought nowadays, but at least it's my original thought. What do we call that blueprint that makes us who we are?
Our DNA.
Our DNA. Deoxyribonucleic acid. XY chromosomes, obviously, and then our DNA is imprinted. It's who we are. And we can add and change who we are, but we become what is in front of you. It's all written in code, and it's laid out for us. Our hair color, eye color, our weight, our disposition, genetic structure, relative recessive genes and predominant genes. All of these things are there. So if you are you based upon who you are, then that begins the moment of conception. And that is life, because you are just a different form of what you're going to be. And it doesn't matter about lungs and heart and feet, because if you let the cake bake, it's gonna ultimately rise and cook. But you are, from a genetic point, a scientific point, who you're going to be. And that is something that the liberals can't answer and they can't argue against. And I think it's really important as Republicans that we start using that. Religion's good. Emotions are good. But what's even better with these jerks is the scientific fact. And if they go ahead and disagree with that, well, then you got to go ahead and just challenge them on, then you're not born that way. And if you're not born that way, then homosexuality and transgenderism is a choice.
Right. Absolutely.
Exactly.
How are they going to fight it?
Yeah.
So here's my point. I'm sorry I jumped in way too much there, but do you think that we will ever get back to a point of focusing on accountability and what's important? Because abortion is not our biggest issue that we need to focus on.
Absolutely not.
It's just not. Just like gun confiscation isn't the biggest we need to. So when do we start seeing that we will realize that world wars were no longer good for societal survival and world survival? When are we going to learn that this petulant crap of just taking the opposite side of the party is just not going to get us where we want to be? Is it possible to get there?
Well, I think that, I guess there's hope since the election. I mean, there's hope that people have had enough of the insanity, and there's enough of us that's going to make a change. Just, again, have to keep saying bringing common sense back. I think there's enough of us bringing common sense back. So I just feel there's more hope. For a while, I had no hope for the country. I thought we were really doomed. I thought we were just completely going off the edge, of insanity. And it just seems like people are waking up. Again, maybe not the left, but hopefully there's less of the left. Maybe it's not as many of them as I feared there was. And I'm hoping the election kind of showed that, because I don't think they're not going to change. So look at that girl that you just showed. They're nuts. I'm sorry. You see a girl like that. Yeah, you see people like that. I mean, you see that. When I see that, and I see these liberals, and they start breaking out into song somewhere. What does that remind me of? It reminds me of the goddamn Manson family. These people are nuts.
Yeah. It really does, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of.
It's like they're like space. They have that look in their eye. It's like no soul, and they're just insane. It's like
they were upset about us saving the astronauts in the International Space Station, for God's sake. How can you not get behind that?
I know. Yeah, exactly.
I think they're going to implode. They're starting to turn on themselves. They're starting to eat their own.
Yeah, which is
the fact that Schumer's on the outs right now, and he used to be one of the party leaders. They're gonna start eating their own.
Wait till you hear what Schumer said today. We've got a clip coming up on that. That's gonna really kind of. Bobby Richardson, $51.99. Thank God for my dumb family. Love you all. Thank you so much, Bobby. We appreciate it, folks. Goal. We are a little shy of our $300 goal. We're sitting at, as soon as this big dollar sign gets the hell out of the way, $200 $247.07, about $53 shy. So if you have the ability and you want to, and remember, it's not required. We want you to like, follow, share, and subscribe. You don't have to donate if you just enjoy the show. But if you've been here a while and you watch the show quite a bit, please do. We'll come back with another video. We want to talk about the earthquake. We want to talk about the Signals app. We want to talk a little bit more about Barry. And I've got some good stuff about Bill Maher that you have to see, because this is probably one of the best videos that I've shared in quite a while. We'll be right back.
Join WimKen.com, the social media platform built for free speech and true connection. No censorship, no algorithms controlling your feed, just genuine conversations and a commitment to protecting your rights. Sign up today at WimKen.com and take back your voice. Tell them Matt and the Dumb Show sent you.
If you have not had a chance, please go over to Wimkin.com. They are our gold sponsor of our show. Wimkin.com, 9 million followers. They are a social media conglomerate, but not with the big tech censorship. It's owned by Jason Shepard, who refused the Senate Oversight Intelligence Committee to give public or give personal private records of all of his users to them. They tried to take those records and he refused. They shut down his email service. They seized his bank accounts. They did horrible crap to him. He fought and has now one of the strongest social media companies for free speech, true free speech, where he doesn't monitor, he doesn't censor, he approves every account. It limits the amount of bots. Go over to Wimkin, 9 million strong. And what you do is pick your username, your photo, fill out the whole thing. Come see me over there at the Dumb Show, or Matt Spear or Olivia Spear, and create your account. It is a Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all rolled into one, and you can always follow us there over at Wimkin.com. Chuck Schumer decides to do oh God, Schumer! I swear, if he pulled his face any tighter, it'd become a part of his ass.
Schumer, Schiff, Pelosi. I can't figure out which one.
Can't stand this guy. I mean,
I love it when Trump calls him a member of Hamas.
It's pretty. Trump is fantastic. Trump is. We were talking about him today with my mother-in-law. She's conservative, but he's really graduated in how to sit back and let his administration just cook, and he just continues to just troll these people so effortlessly. Here is. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Barry. Go ahead.
Like I said, this is the best when he does that, when he trolls them.
Yeah, it's good. Here's Chucky Schumer admitting Trump's popularity is huge, admitting his numbers and his strength are amazing. And all they have to do is keep applying the same old meltdown and Trump derangement syndrome, and it's bound to work. It's just like Novocaine, folks. Just give it time. It'll work, because 10 years hasn't been enough. Here is facelift Schumer. Here it is.
We are mobilizing in New York. We have people going to the Republican districts and going after these Republicans who are voting for this and forcing them to either change their vote or face the consequences. This is a long, relentless fight that we fight every day. And I am confident that we will bring Trump's popularity, numbers, and strength down if we keep at it and keep at it and keep at it.
Well, you think about that. Did you see Bill Burr's recent appearance on The View, where he said we need to start tempering and calming down our political discourse, that we need to start looking for alliances, that we need to begin to, I mean, if you're going to have a United States of America, then you have to reach out in the spirit of fraternity and national pride and love to people that have different views from you. I mean, your country, from its very origin, after the rejection of British imperialism.
Yeah, I don't listen to the English. I don't care. Russell Brand, screw him. Sorry, I'm not going to end the show. We're not ending the show, but I stopped listening to the English in 1786, and I'm not going to continue to listen to them anymore. Fuck them. Chuck Schumer. They what?
They're good at singing, but that's it.
Yeah, well, listen, Jethro Tull's one of my favorite bands of all time, and so and I've got a lot of English friends, and a lot of English people watch this show, so I'm teasing, but they all know that I've got this thorn on my side about the English. When we hear Chuck Schumer at one end say that Donald Trump's favorability is in the tank, that Donald Trump is the most hated man in America, that he's a Nazi, but then go ahead and say, well, all we got to do in order to bring his popularity down is just continue to do what we're doing. Which one is it?
It's quid pro quo, considering they're going to force people to change their votes. That's what I heard out of that. But,
right.
He's a Democrat, so that doesn't apply to him.
But what is there any messaging coming out of the Democratic Party that's consistent and accurate? I mean, they are so frustrated that a shill reporter got this signals access, and they don't even care what we did in Yemen. In fact, they're probably upset that we killed Houthis because these guys, they hate Jews.
Right.
But let's be honest.
Even the Democratic Jews hate Jews, I can say.
Tell me about that. This is
Jews. Yeah, the leftist Jews. Sorry, yeah. Trump pointed out Chuck Schumer is on the side of Hamas. Unfortunately, a lot of I could say it, as you know, I'm Jewish, conservative Jewish, but a lot of the Jews on the left are not supportive of Israel, and they'll stick up for the Palestinians and Hamas or show sympathy. So there's that problem. It's a problem.
Why?
I always get trouble for saying that, but I don't know. But it's a fact. It's like, you know.
Well, I agree it's a fact. We broke down the numbers in the election, and I explained to people what was going to happen in Florida. And even though 76% of the Jews is actually a better number than ever before, more Jews broke for Trump than ever before. It's not even close. It's not even close. It's ridiculous. Why? Why do they vote for them? Why do they vote for liberals who hate them?
One of the most asked questions I get, and I wish I can answer because it's the most frustrating, infuriating things, makes my head explode when I see the Jews still vote Democrat, and how the hatred for Trump, who Trump was clearly the best friend Israel and Jews have ever had in the White House. I mean, his son-in-law is Orthodox Jewish. His daughter is Jewish. He converted. Grandchildren are Jewish. He loves Israel.
Peace accords.
Right, exactly. Well, a lot of people don't know when he took over Mar-a-Lago. I guess at the time it was a restricted club, when allowed Jews and blacks, and he said that I'm taking this only if that changes. So where do you get this anti-Semitic crap from? It's ludicrous. It's insulting. It's infuriating to Jews like us, and it's embarrassing when we get idiots like Schumer and Adam Schiff and these people who are just like not a word about Israel.
Well, he recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, which 6 other presidents promised in their campaigns and never did. And then he did it. And what did they tell him? You're going to create World War III. You're going to create World War III if you do this. What he did, he created the Abraham Accords. He had Saudi Arabia before they did October 7th, and that's why they did October 7th. They didn't do it to pay back the Jews for anything. They did it to fucking stop the Abraham Accords in Saudi Arabia.
Right. And October 7th most likely wouldn't have happened had Trump had been in the White House at the time.
Oh, most certainly.
Well, Russia and Ukraine wouldn't have happened either if Trump was in the White House.
Right, exactly. Very true. But Biden financed. First administration with Trump, he stopped financing to Iran. Biden brought it back. They used that money to finance Hamas.
Yes.
Hamas could not have done the attack without the financing from Iran.
No.
So how do you vote? How do you re-vote for that? But why would you vote for? I mean, just trust me, it makes me nuts.
The $150 billion and the pallets full of cash. They're like, well, it's Iran's money. Who gives a crap? We've had it for 37 years.
Right.
There's no reason to give it back. And second, what a lot of people don't say, I love when they're like, oh, it's just the pallets full of cash. It was also USAID, because every time USAID went in there and gave them copper tubing to run new water lines and water mains to these places, they used it for fucking missiles.
Right.
This is what Hamas does. They are a terrorist organization. When 91% of any population wants to eradicate the Jews and literally create genocide for Israel, those people cannot be bargained with. I feel very bad that there's children dying. I do. I don't want people to die. I don't want civilians to die. But there is no Palestine. And you either need to assimilate or get the fuck out of the country, period.
Exactly. Well, it's like, of course, we felt sorry that children were killed at Hiroshima, but it's not our. You blame it on the Japanese. Should have attacked Pearl Harbor. Hamas should have attacked on October 7th. All these poor little children would be alive. I mean, Israel is defending themselves, and that's what happens in war. I'm not, you know more about war than I do, but it's a common sense. I mean, war is hell, and unfortunately, innocent people die. But I mean, there was peace. Israel was at peace. They shouldn't have attacked them. Every innocent life is on the blood of Hamas. Has nothing to do with Israel.
76,000 work visas to the Palestinians in Gaza, which are not the Philistines, people. Right. Okay, the Philistines and the Palestinians are not the same. 1836, the Roman Emperor went ahead and named the Palestinians, and it's a Roman word from Palestinia. Right. It's not the same thing. Lisa Regina donated $50. Barry rocks. New dumb show.
She's Lisa? One of my oldest, dearest friends. She's acting coach. best acting coach in New York City, great actress.
Nice.
And she has a great foundation that works with veterans. She has a drone program that helps gets veterans drone pilots pilot licenses to fly drones.
Lisa, you need to come on to my show. We love veteran groups here. We're all veterans.
She'd be a great guest to have her on because she's just a great. I mean, she's, again, one of my closest friends, but she also loves and supports veterans. She can tell you more about the organization that my wife and I are help out with it too. But she's really does a lot of work.
For
That was
sure.
really nice she did that.
Oh, it's very
Lisa
sweet.
John,
Very sweet.
see her Sunday.
Hayden,
and her husband.
I guarantee Hayden would be on the show that night.
Oh yeah, because Hayden wants to be an actress.
Our daughter wants to be an actress, so.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'll hook you guys up.
So listen, I just finish my thought here. 76,000 Gazans, okay, or relocated Turks, gypsies, and vagabonds from exiled from Muslim countries. If you want to be specific, not the Philistines, were given work visas and work furlough to come into Israel and work in Jerusalem, work in Israel, and do these programs and go back so they could bring money into their populace. And Israel and Netanyahu took the knee. He bent the knee. He got feedback from Obama. He got feedback from Biden that said, you're either going to do what we say in the U.S. and stop these endless retaliatory attacks, or and become a humanitarian to these people, or we're going to cut off your funding. And Netanyahu took the knee, man. He did it. And he you know why? Because he tried the humanitarian way. And what did they do? They took photos. They staged plans to go ahead and murder and kill and destroy Jews. Fuck them.
Right. Exactly.
I'm sick of it.
Exactly. It's it started back with it just shows that weakness just gets people killed. Sharon, Prime Minister Sharon, who was a tough general, badass general, he gave Gaza away. Dumbest thing. Like I just don't understand why they did. But again, trying to appease the world, everybody says, "Oh, you got to give a little more land, and there'll be peace." And then sometimes Israel's too nice, says, "Okay, we'll try that." Never works out. They
Same
just
thing
get
with the Golan Heights. We know.
Right.
It's just what.
Exactly.
Listen, I spent 6 wonderful months in Israel with the IDF and Mossad, and I have nothing but. Listen, Israel is not a perfect country. They make mistakes. They do. They retaliate with a sledgehammer for a Nerf gun shot. Okay, but you have to. When you are 99.6% of the landmass in the Middle East is owned by Muslims, and the Shia and Kurds and the Sunnis aren't killing each other, you know what they're doing? They're killing Jews. So can we stop pretending that the Jews have a choice? They've got from the river to the sea behind them, and there are a lot of people. But the funny thing is the Muslim world does not hate Jews as much as they used to. In fact, a lot of Muslim countries, whether it be Egypt, whether it be UAE, whether it be Yemen, whether it be Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, they are saying Jews own that land. And this fight is between Muslims and Jews, not Iranian terrorists, not Houthis, not Hezbollah, not JIP, not the Syrian Guard or the IRGC. And you've never heard that before. But the reason you're hearing that is because the work Donald Trump did in the Abraham Accords. And he has done enough work with them to realize that killing Jews and Muslims killing each other is not beneficial to the Middle East. And it will never progress because for 3,000 years they've been doing it. It hasn't gotten them anywhere.
Right. And to go back to the point before too about Israel hitting hard, retaliating hard, which I think is great. But they're also the only country that try harder than any other country to avoid civilian casualties, which
they do.
Which the media does not tell you about. Media does not talk about that. They're the only ones who send in aid to their enemies. We didn't send aid to Germany when we were bombing the hell out of them in World War II. No. We didn't help try to send money to help the Nazis rebuild. I mean, after the war, yes, but I mean, Germany. But I'm talking about during the war. They did not send in the kind of aid that Israel is expected to. And they're always held to the highest standards that they have to do this. You have to be careful about that. Even if there's, mistakes made, I mean, then everybody goes nuts. It's like, but that happens in war, it's frustrating.
335,000 Iraqis that didn't have weapons of mass destruction have some questions too. So,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, so
Yeah.
it's not all about the Jews. We can go ahead and feel sympathetic and empathetic towards the Muslims too. And I do.
Right.
I think we've treated the Kurds and I think we treat the Sunnis absolutely like dirt and like shit. And not all Muslims are bad. That's absolutely a ridiculous thing. The thing about Israel that people don't understand, and I'm not here, I don't get paid by Israel. I don't have the AIC PAC giving me money. I don't receive Barry's not giving me shit. Like a typical Jew, he's taking all my money. So, so it was funny. Come on, it's funny. So the point I'm trying to make is this, and we'll kind of we'll put a bow on this when it comes down to it. Is when you look at what Israel is doing for the United States, you'll hear the number one thing people say, well, why are we giving them $330 billion over the last 60 years? Well, let me tell you why. Because when the Muslims don't have the Jews to kill, I've tried to explain that they kill each other.
Right.
And after they're done killing each other, you will have an uprising and they will look at the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Israel is science and technology from an innovation standpoint. We kind of beta test most of our weapon systems there as well and see how they effectively work, whether it be the Iron Dome or David Sling. The F-22 was actually tested there. The F-22 was tested there in Israel. So that's huge. But the intelligence apparatus in Israel is one of the greatest in the world.
If not the greatest.
If not the greatest. And I will stand by that we had to, after 9/11, relearn our human intelligence failures, and the Israelis taught us a great deal. And we may have taught their special forces, but they really helped us with the intelligence apparatus that we have in the U.S. So there is a mutual assured relationship, but most importantly, it's to keep the shipping lanes open, and we need the Gulf and the Suez. And without that, the amount of money that the United States will lose just on that with free trade will cripple us, because look what happened to us in World War II. So Israel is a key ally in that area, and we have to make sure that they're taken care of. Am I a Zionist? Yes, but I also believe that every other country should have its sovereignty. So it's not just being a Zionist. I'm about countries having their sovereignty, and the Jews deserve to exist, period.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it blows my mind how many people don't understand why the relationship is so important. A lot of, mainly on the left, but unfortunately some on our side don't even see it too, which is also frustrating. And thank you to Joseph who just commented there. That was nice.
Yeah, Barry, appreciate your work and your.
I got it.
And then somebody made a nice comment, Susan. She gave me a nice compliment, so I thank you for that, Susan. That was a lot.
I'm gonna open it up and make those last for 30 seconds because they go too fast.
Barry, appreciate your work and your support of veterans and Gold Star families. You are a true American patriot. God bless you.
Yeah,
that's very nice. Very nice.
Listen, here's a video that I wanted to show y'all, and this hour, 2 hours is just going by way too fast. But when you have good company, it does, and I knew it would. But this one's. I got to get to the Bill Maher one, but I want to show this video because this was just released about Greenland. And as we know, J.D. Vance was in Greenland. People wonder why we're in Greenland. And can I very quickly, I apologize, let the intel side of me come out, and I'll give myself 45 seconds. The most important area in the United States are its bodies of water, the Atlantic and the Pacific. And there is something between Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom called the Giak Gap. And then on the other side, it's Greenland, Iceland, and Norway, which is the Gin Gap. And inside those gaps, essentially, are thousands of nautical miles of open space that are connected to Russian waters, which would be the Polyarny Inlet, Severomorsk, Petropavlovsk, Vladivostok. These are the Russian naval bases that are all in the northern part of Russia. And this is predominantly where the Russian fleet is. Polyarny Inlet is where they bring out their boomers and their Akula-class submarines, which are now have been upgraded to similar to a Wolf-class submarine. But those are the nuclear arsenal of Russia that is really the only threat left. Most of their ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and silos and portable man-pad missiles are not able to hit the United States because the technology is complete dog shit. But their subs are relatively decent. This is why the United States has been able to track every single sub that has come out of Polyani, Severomorsk, Petropavlovsk, Vladivostok for the last 15 years is because our technology is so much more advanced than the Russians. And honestly, it's like hearing a Volkswagen without a muffler in the middle of the Atlantic, and we can pick them up very easily. But in the GIAC gap, there are SONAS nets, and SONAS nets identify acoustics of submarines. Greenland is a strategic position because Russia will never have Alaska again. We've made sure of that. So Greenland is now the new Alaska for Russia. And they want that strategic position so they have access to bring in their subs from a nuclear deterrent at an easier clip. We are getting ahead of that. And Trump is not going to tell you that, but he is very subtly letting you know that it is a strategic imperative for the United States of America because we know where the next battle is going to be fought for the world, and that's going to be Africa. Africa is going to be the next Middle East in the next 30 years. So you don't want to fight two ocean wars. We learned that in World War II. So you want to secure the northern part. We know Russia's an enemy. We know Iran's an enemy. We know China's an enemy. And we own the South Pacific. So you want to go ahead and get the North Atlantic completely bottled up. Greenland is a key position. So we can put sub-hunters there. We can go ahead and put military naval bases there. And we can extend and keep them further away from the United States. This video is going to show that. And I apologize I did that because Olivia hates when I go intel shit. But here it is.
Explanations are good.
Thank you, Barry, for spending the evening with us. Dummies $51.99. Thank you,
Thanks,
Bobby.
Bob.
All right,
Bob.
watch this. Here it is. Watch this.
Treaty, trade, cold silence of the tundra. A bond was born, not from treaties or trade, but from blood and bravery. While Germany controlled Europe, the Nazis set their sights on the Arctic. Greenland became an unwitting combatant, and the United States stepped in, not to conquer, but to protect. In 1943, nearly 1,000 American soldiers with 4 chaplains set sail from New York to Greenland, carrying with them hope, duty, and a quiet fear. But their ship was torpedoed by a Nazi U-boat, and the frigid waters of the North Atlantic became a grave. Those 4 chaplains gave up their life vests, giving their lives so that others might live, to protect America and Greenland. Their sacrifices helped win our freedom, and we will never forget. Together, Americans and Greenlanders stood as sentinels at the top of the world. But today, Greenland faces new threats. From Russian aggression and Chinese expansion, our shared legacy lives on in every joint mission, every Arctic patrol, every partnership forged in the shadow of melting ice and rising tensions. This is not just history, it is destiny. Now is the time to stand together again. For peace, for security, for the future, America stands with Greenland.
Folks, I can't be more. Listen, I had spent a career going after Russian intelligence. Most of my time was in the Russian AOR and combating Spetsnaz and KGB and Politburo and understanding geopolitically how important it was because the sleeping bear is awake again. And the one thing Russia always wants is to reintroduce the Iron Bloc. That's what they want. They want to expand. They believe that Czechoslovakia, they believe that all of the countries that left over the last, 65 years are rightfully theirs. I want to get your guys' thoughts on Donald Trump, why Greenland's important. We'll talk about the Iron Dome. And Barry, you're a historian, so you know a lot about this. Would like to get your thoughts on Greenland. And then Liv, if you have anything to chime in.
Well, yeah, I have to say, as you know, I love history, but I was not an expert. I didn't when Trump brought up about how important Greenland was. I really didn't get it, and he's explained it. But so I have to thank you. You say your introduction was long, but it was important because that was a lot of good information that you gave. Because that really is helpful to me and to a lot of people to understand why Greenland is important. And that video was fascinating because, as you know, being a big World War II buff, I did not know that story. I'd like to look more into that story about the 4 chaplains. That sounds very cool. But yeah, no, it just makes it very clear what it is. But when Trump comes up with stuff and the people say, "What the hell is he?" Well, that's crazy. But Trump's always right. He's like, he proves everything. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. So you'll have to trust it. He really just knows what he's doing, and that just like that shows it right there. So that was very informative and helpful. So that was very.
Can I give you an example of this that nobody says? And Donald Trump was laughed out of Washington D.C. for creating Space Force.
Right.
What's the number one concern everyone has about China and Russia? Hypersonic missiles.
Space.
Right.
Yeah, and hypersonic missiles in space. Hello. That's why we've got a Space Force. And the Iron Dome, I don't believe the Iron Dome is the right solution for the United States because we've played this game. Because it's not going to be delivered by bombers or strike fighters. You're talking about intercontinental ballistic missiles, and that is a much different thing. Reagan tried to do that, wasted absolute billions on it. And the mathematical equations to intercept an ICBM is much different than hitting a Scud or hitting a Shahed or a Hong or whatever other type of SA-3, SA-2. So if you want to protect soft targets, like I can't go into too much detail, but Washington, D.C. has an integrated air defense system, and that's put in after 9/11, and it is robust. So if you want to know, be a Chinese or Russian fighter and go ahead and go on dead-on approach, and you get squawked and not reply, and watch how quickly your ass is lit up like a pinball machine from like 100 different threats. So a lot of people don't know that. We have integrated air defense system integrated into a lot of our soft targets in the United States after post 9/11, and these are robust systems. So when you look at the Iron Dome, a lot of people think it just covers the whole country, but it doesn't. It covers segments. And it's a multiple systems. It's an intermesh network of integrated air defense. So it's not necessarily the best choice for the United States. What we truly need to understand is how to quick strike and hit targets that can retaliate against the United States in a more effective way. This is where stealth technology comes in. This is where the 6th generations of fighters come in. This is where long-range missiles, not hypersonic, but smart missiles that can kill targets faster. This is the technology that we really need to get into. So it's an interesting thing. Liv, anything on Greenland?
I know pretty much nothing about Greenland, so I don't think I'd have very much of an opinion.
That works perfect because then that allows us to get to our next segment, which is the one that I really wanted to talk about tonight, right after it.
The DUM store is veteran-owned with a 5...
Hey, Seuss, Rumble Chat, $10. Good guess. Still want a photo of Colonel Hackworth, advisory team, 50. Calon, 1971, passed away 1990s. Still want a photo of Colonel D. Hackworth, advisory
He
team.
also wanted to know if you have a picture of him.
Hackworth?
Yeah, I've never heard of him, but
I think I read his book about him. Wasn't he with Vietnam? Something with Vietnam?
Yeah. I don't know if I have. I mean, I know he was a journalist. I know he was Korean War. I know he wrote a book.
Didn't he have something to do? I thought he went into the Vietnam War too. Wasn't he?
No.
If it's the guy I'm thinking of, was he like he was a hero, but then he kind of turned against the Vietnam War? Is that who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, because he was in Korea, and I know he was in World War II. I know that he was South Pacific Marine. But yeah, Hackworth demobilized Korean Armistice Agreement in 1954. He returned to active duty for the Cold War, substantially changed in the 77th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Battalion, Vietnam. John F. Kennedy announced the large advisory team sent to South. Hackworth immediately volunteered for service. 65, he deployed to Vietnam, rank of major. Yeah, this guy's a huge career. I wonder why we are worried about a picture of him. But I have read about Hackworth, and I read it about him. And you have not. If you have not read this series, you must. If there's anything you do that I ask you to do, this is one of them. It's by Webb Griffin, and it's the Corps and the Lieutenant series. And it's about the Army and the Marine Corps all the way through World War II with the Office of Strategic Services with Wild Bill Donovan, all the way up to like Afghanistan. Oh my God, dude. Greatest series. W.E.B. Griffin.
Yeah, that's all I read is history books and military. So yeah, if you could send me a link, I'd love to check that out.
I will. You'll love it. But yeah, this is him right here.
Yeah, that's him. I remember I read his book. I think he became a big anti-war guy during Vietnam. He turned against the war. I forget if I may be wrong, but that's how I think.
Yeah, no, he did. You're absolutely right. He did. Yeah. And if there is a war you're going to turn against, Vietnam is the one. Right. Great information. Let's do this quick commercial, and then we're going to wrap this up and go from here.
The DUM store is veteran-owned with a 5-star diamond rating for service and satisfaction. We offer quality products like coffee, shirts, hoodies, and hats, all made by veterans. Shop with confidence, backed by hundreds of 5-star reviews. Use code DUM10 to save 10%. Visit thedumshow.com today. Thank you for your support.
I think he did a lot of work with PTS and post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, I believe that's what he did. Somebody made a comment and said laser defense. It's laser defense isn't what you think. We have direct high energy weapons right now that are being tested and used in Israel. I did a really good video breakdown of their laser DUM weapons. The problem is that it's really shitty in fog. It's not really good with a high ambient temperature. It's not good with a high humidity. That's not bad in an arid environment. But the biggest thing is it takes time. And with a hypersonic missile now and the speeds of missiles reaching Mach 12, 13, 14, there's not enough time for a laser to heat up the incoming bogey in enough time to make it explode. And the energy it would take to have a strong enough missile to heat it up and destroy it that quickly is very difficult to have that be portable, which means that first initial strikes from the enemy would be targeting these power centers to destroy the defense system. So it's just lasers aren't really the way to go. Ballistics are, but you've got to figure out the math and the coordination and the computers to be able to do the calculus that's needed to be done in fractions of a second that I can't even possibly comprehend. So moving on, here is the video I wanted to show you. Bill Maher is one of my most influential people in my life. And I understand. I know what he said about Iraq troops. I know what he's done to Trump. But I always told you that he was a conservative, and I always defended him, that he was always fiscally a capitalist, that he, although did not believe in religion and was adamantly against organized religion, he does not disparage faith. He simply says, I don't know. And I've seen the movie Religulous. I've watched it many times, and I understand people find it to be sacrilegious and antithetical to what Christianity and Judaism and everything else is all about. But I will tell you, he is a smart man, but he did not like Trump, and they went back and forth. And I feel vindicated because I would defend him, and people started seeing it about a year and a half, 2 years ago and being like, wow, Bill Maher's really eating the red pill and he's making sense. And I'm sitting here laughing my ass off going, guys, I told you he's always been this way. This is a great video. And this is where I want to spend some time. Olivia, you know Bill Maher. You've got your own opinions about him. But I want you to hear this. And what it is Maher has been asked to have dinner with President Trump. Now, they have sued each other. President Trump sued Bill Maher for $30 million for calling his mother an orange orangutan. And
know about that.
Bill Maher has countersued him, and they don't like each other. But administration reached out to Bill Maher and said, the president would like to invite you to the White House to have a dinner. And Bill Maher's like, I'm going. And I got goosebumps over this because Bill Maher doesn't understand.
Not going to be healing America.
He doesn't understand how amazing this possibly could be, because I want you to think of how many people have red pilled, whether it be Joe Rogan, whether it be RFK, whether it be Tulsi Gabbard, that a lot of people, even Fetterman from Pennsylvania, has started to come over to Trump's thinking. Here's the video, and I've done a lot of talking in the second half. I apologize, but let's go ahead and watch this.
You're going to meet with the president.
I am.
So Kid Rock makes it happen. What do you think has been the response so far? What do you think it will be, and why are you doing it? Which I'm totally for, by the way.
Yes, and I am aware that Kid Rock set it up. I'm just letting you know the administration has extended the invitation. Yes, and Kid Rock was on Bill Maher's show. Yes.
Well, I'm doing it because, first of all, it was presented as
a dare.
not a dare. No, just like, maybe this is a beginning to heal America. No, I don't have some sort of complex where I think I can heal America. I can't.
Okay, let's get that clear. I'm not going to be healing America. But if two guys who've been at each other for so long, I mean, it's kind of a Nixon to China thing. I have the credential. There was nobody who was harder on Trump or more prescient about the fact that he wasn't going to leave office voluntarily than I was. I feel like I have the credentials. But they also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town. And I don't shrink from that. And I've also lost a lot of fans for that. The woke people have left the building, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But it does give you a certain credibility. So I just think to meet somebody, first of all, it's an honor to be invited to the White House.
Yes, it is.
And I've already had a couple of people who I said to them, I'm just going to take it as a backhanded compliment that you glide right past the idea that little Bill Maher from Rivervale, New Jersey, just a humble kid from the suburbs, was invited for a private dinner to the White House. You glide right past that to how dare you talk to him, and that you're not impressed by it at all. I'm impressed by it a lot. I'm impressed the fuck out of it. I get to go to the White House, and yes, that is the structure of this dinner, is just let's talk. Let's talk to each other face to face. Let's not stop shouting from 3,000 miles away, So if they expect me to be leaving in a MAGA hat, they're going to be very disappointed, but I know they don't. And I think it's going to be, look, it probably will accomplish very little, but you got to try, man. You got to try.
I love it. Kanye, Bill Maher, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Love being with you, bud.
Yeah, this was so much fun.
And I love that you're going. I think it's great.
What do you guys think? Olivia, then Barry, and then we've got a question from one of our viewers. Olivia, your thoughts? You've watched Bill Maher for years with me.
Yes, I think it's great. A lot of people on the left respect him, and lately it's really only been people from the left on his show. There hasn't been a lot of conservatives on his show lately. So I think
on Bill's,
yeah, I haven't watched it lately.
Yeah, he's had Shapiro, he's had Kid Rock.
Okay,
he's been doing fairly well. So he's been really bringing conservatives on and being based, and there's many more. But that just give you an idea. Go ahead.
But I mean, his criticism of Trump in his first term, I mean, you could tell he really did not like him, and I think it can show people that just because you may not like a person doesn't mean you can't respect them. And I'm hoping, yes, Yenny has something to say too. I'm hoping that it might make a little bit of a bridge from the left to the right. And
nice.
Hopefully he can pull some people over to normal thinking and to pull their heads out of their asses and stop thinking that Trump is evil orange man and that maybe he's actually doing some good for the country.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that will work.
I can't wait to see it. Barry, your thoughts?
Well, let me ask you, what do you think Trump's motivation is for actually reaching out to him and inviting him? I mean, do you think it's that reason that he thinks it's going to wake some people up, or he might have influence on people?
Yeah, it's a really, I wish I could. I spend a lot of time trying to predict Trump, and I do a fairly good job at it. So when Bill Maher says he has the credentials, I gotta say that I'm pretty good at it. I believe that Donald Trump had to be convinced of this for sure.
Yeah, right. Because I'm agreeing with what Olivia said about his. I mean, I guess my first thought is, I stay bitter towards the people who called Trump a racist, a fascist. It's so hard for me to really forgive them or even respect them. I just can't respect people like that. But at the same time, I have been starting to appreciate him a little more because I do see clips on certain shows that they'll show clips and I'm like, where'd that come from? That's Bill Maher. Wow, the guy who hates Trump, but he's making sense. And I'm glad he even brought, or I don't know if Olivia mentioned or if he mentioned, but I always knew he was look, he's a guy's guy, so he doesn't put up with that woke crap either. So
no, he doesn't.
I respect that about him too. So he wasn't because there was people on the left who are far crazier than he is. Once in a while, he'll come to the side of reality. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's going to be a good thing. So I'm curious what he says when he comes out. I hope he doesn't like wimp out and come like he'll kiss Trump's butt and like say some nice things, but then as the show goes on, he's going to go back to Trump's a racist, Trump's a fascist,
like Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. I don't like phonies. I mean, maybe Moore's not a phony. He doesn't really come across as a phony, I guess. But
no, he's always been pretty authentic. And you know,
so,
when I say Trump had to be convinced, I don't think Trump came up with this and said, "Hey, Kid Rock, go on the Bill Maher show and get me a seat." I think what happened is Kid Rock came back and said, "Listen, man, this is Maher. This would be great for the country." And he needs to bridge the gap into liberal media. And you're not going to get that with Gavin Newsom. You're not going to get that on The View. Bill Maher is really his best chance to crack into.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's why he would do it. Liv, you had something else?
No, I agree with what you were saying.
Yeah, so, but I'm curious when this is going to happen. And I'm really going to be curious what the response is from both sides.
CJ donated $31.40. Awesome guest tonight. Thank you for all that you do. Nice to see the network got some pretty consistent numbers. It's been our highest numbers of the week because it is spring break. Barry, I want to say something, man, and this is just my thing, and then you get it, Liv get it. We always do 1 minute at the end of the show, but I get to kind of say whatever you want. I want you to talk about your site, talk about your business. I just wanted to say that I've met a lot of people who have no right to be humble. And you may not understand this, but you're one of them. You have absolutely no business being humble. You are an exceptional artist. Yeah, this is where you be quiet and let me tell you all the great things about you. You're exceptionally humble. You have a beautiful wife. You have a very great life, and you have no reason to be a great guy, and you are. You took my family in. And you never. The one thing I can say about you that I love the most is you're not territorial, and you even though you're an artist, you weren't smug about it. You took other people's opinions and you allowed other people to help kind of tell you their vision and then ask their opinion on if you were doing it right. And to have that master of the craft, but still realize that you can learn something from novices is a gift that most people don't possess. So I just want to say I'm just honored to call you a friend, and I love that we've stayed in contact, and I hope you come back again, and I wish you the very best on your book, and thank you for humbling us with your presence. It was wonderful.
Hey, I can't thank you. That's very kind of you. Like I said to my wife, felt like when I met you guys in Virginia, I felt like I've known you already, that you're old friends, and I know we're going to remain friends, and I really appreciate all the kind words you said, and I had a great time. So I want to come on once a week.
I want my discount, please. So can I get a refund? You're more than welcome to.
I'd love to come back.
I tell this to Damani and everybody. There's never an invitation needed. You pick up the phone and say, "I want to come on," and that's what's great about Damani and these guys is hey, I want to come on tonight. I'm like, you're going to be on. So. Olivia, your minute, and then we're going to give it to our guest of honor to have his.
Yes. First, I wanted to say and wish Miss Jessica Beck a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
and
Jessica.
She bought herself a Friends hoodie and a Friends shirt as a birthday gift to herself. I think she's the first one that's bought the Friends
No. We've had more, but I cannot wait to get those out to you. So now I get to go and make your name and do all the graphics, and this is cool because I get to do custom work for people now. So I'm excited. That's so cool. I'll get to work on that right after the show.
Also, a lot of compliments for you, Barry. Rumble chat you can't see, unfortunately. I can see it, but everyone is loving you, wants you to come back. Says you're one of the best guests we've had, so you definitely need to come back. And it was a great experience 2 weeks ago. I had so much fun. You made me feel so comfortable, and it was great getting to know you on the show. And you promised to tell us how you met your wife.
All right. Well, thank you for the kind words, and you guys were great to photograph, especially Olivia. She's a little better looking, so.
Yeah, it's just, you have to say that. I get it. I get it. We know the truth.
But you guys were great. No, you were great to work with, and you're both great, and I can't wait to stay in touch with you guys. So my wife, I actually met her on Instagram. She was living in Arizona, and I'm in New Jersey, and so I'm always on Instagram, Facebook networking. I meet clients there, reach out to them too, and but I did come across her photos somehow, and obviously I've noticed she was a very beautiful woman, but I didn't want to be that weirdo photographer, like say, hey, I'd love to take your picture. You know, it's like, never want to be that guy. So, but I do, I'll reach out to people if I see they're professionals. Maybe they need, then I'll send them my information, and I'll be professional. I'll say, hey, you might need some photos. I saw she was going to be in the DC area when I was going to be there because she was training for the Marine Corps marathon, and that's not my wife, but
no, I pulled the wrong one up. Cut me some slack, Jack. Go ahead. I'm pulling it up. Oh, just do your thing. First mistake I made.
I'm married to.
My bad. I'm getting it, Sam.
He's all over my social media. That's funny.
Just go to his Facebook profile. It's on there.
I'm trying. I pulled up the wrong batch of photos. I didn't mean to switch the windows.
Yeah, that's so funny. But anyway, so I reached out. She was going to be in DC. She was training for the Marine Corps marathon. I said, hey, I see you're going to be in the area. Look like you may need professional photos. And we basically just hit it off immediately. We just, we talk about how we fell in love over the phone because we hadn't met. We didn't meet for a few months. We had plans for her to come out to New York. She got into 2 weeks before she was supposed to come out. She got into a horrible car accident. Yeah. So we obviously had to delay the trip. She was in a wheelchair and a walker for quite a while. She actually came out a month later, still in a walker and a wheelchair. So the first time I met her, she was in a wheelchair. But she's a very strong, badass woman. She recovered quickly, and she was determined to come see me. And she's my best friend, my soulmate, and she's amazing. So I'm glad I reached out. I'm glad I reached out.
Congratulations.
How did that go? I mean, how was there any awkward moments? Was it weird for you? I mean, come on. What was it? No, she looked beautiful, rolling down the thing in the airport. The guy pushing her. She still looked beautiful in a wheelchair. There's nothing. She was just. It was amazing to watch her. In her walker. The fact that she came out to see me like that, some women may be self-conscious. Say, well, I don't want him to first time see me in a walker or in a wheelchair. But she was determined that we were going to meet and see each other. And so I have to respect that. So she's pretty amazing. I'm pretty lucky. And she supported. We knew very quickly. It was very obvious. How long have you been married? It's going to be 3 years this next month, April. I'm sorry. I thought I had the picture saved in that cell, but I can't find it. She's all over my Facebook and Instagram. When we go to public events, everybody knows her just from me posting her. Yeah, I feel like an asshole because I can't find it.
Go to his Facebook profile.
I'm on his Facebook profile. I see a lot of don't unfriend me stuff. Go to his
birthday. She posted a bunch of pics on the birthday.
When the hell was his birthday?
Like last week.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, we're both Barch babies, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep talking so I can find
I turned 64, and I've been saying that I grew up loving the song When I'm 64. I didn't expect it to be my theme song. You don't look 64. Well, thank you.
No, I would not have guessed that.
Thank you. Yeah.
I am okay. There's the birthday cake. I'm getting close.
Yes.
There's your Don't Unfriend Me hat. That one's cool. I still can't find your wife. I've seen the pictures 100 times.
If you look under the profile, it'll say married to. Click on her name and you'll see her.
Oh, Liv, get in here.
Would you like me to help you?
Yeah, I'm mucking this shit up, and I feel horrible because I'm usually really good at this, but I'm not doing well right now. About married to, because I've seen these all on Instagram and stuff. It's weird. Liv, do me a favor.
Yes.
Figure it out. Find it, please. Okay, Barry, tell us about the website.
It's
packages and stuff, like just a reasonable person, like some of the things that you do and how you kind of put it together and how you make people feel comfortable. I just wish people could kind of feel that and see it. We should have documented it better, but go ahead. That's fine. Yeah. Well, go to my website. You'll see the packages I offer. I offer hair and makeup. I have the best hair and makeup team in New York. And when I come to Virginia too, when people book a shoot, we talk about clothing. I give them advice about clothing. I tell them how they're going to get the images right away. We try to make the shoot so comfortable.
as we talked about, I'm big on music. We always have great music playing. I have the famous Barry Morgenstein jukebox in the studio, which everybody loves. Everybody loves my music. So
I'm Too Sexy For was a bit much.
Oh, I thought that was awesome.
That was awesome.
I was cracking up when that one came on.
That was the one song that was funny. My assistant Reza, he said he caught me on video because I'm so particular. Shelley calls me a music snob, which I am, a music and a movie snob. So I'm very particular about the right music. And one of my clients threw that song and threw me off, and I was kind of in shock. So I was like, I'm a rock and roll blues guy, and I love great music and old music, Sinatra, that type of stuff. So we always have good music in the studio. I think it creates a nice atmosphere. We're pretty laid back. That's not my wife either.
I know that. I'm showing you the studio. And I'm showing all the behind the scenes pics.
Yeah, so
you know what? I got it, old man. All right, let me just go ahead.
Old man.
We got that.
That's
right.
funny.
Yes, that's my Lottie Rayleigh. She's the makeup artist in Virginia.
Yeah, she did my makeup.
Yeah, she did a good job, right? And Maureen, my other makeup artist from New York.
This is the one who called me a tall drink of water, right here.
Yeah, that's Maureen, and yeah. And these are clients. These are clients. That's she's a regular actress. She comes almost every time I come to Virginia. That's
oh yeah, that's Leland
from News Nation.
Yeah, Leland Vitter.
Leland Vitter. He came in for headshots. That's a local former model. She was a fun shoot. That's the crew. That's Deborah Oval. Deborah Oval is great. On the left, she's a regular too. She's an actress model, but she's always our hostess. So her smile brings a lot of joy to our events. There's another. See, there's a colonel from the Air Force. Great guy. That was an honor to be with him.
Yeah,
Chris. He's a business. Yeah, they had all kinds of people. We get everybody. That's the staff. Belina, who's on the right, another one of the hostesses with Lottie, the makeup artist. So we just have a great crew. As you know, we have fun. We have music playing. We have food. We have drinks. We just have a good time.
Yeah. Everyone's like, 64 is not old. It's a joke. Listen, see, Olivia?
Yes.
You're struggling too, aren't you?
He posts like 100 things
Thank
a
you.
day.
Thank you.
It took me forever to get down to
If a
your
woman
birthday.
can't find another man's wife picture, then I don't get any shit for it.
I got it though.
Then send it to me.
I'm sending it to you.
Send it to me. Let's get that thing fired off. Listen, I do appreciate. I hope everyone had a good time. Barry and I are going to be sitting down together and doing an interview because I have a lot of questions that are more about him and what he's gone through, and I want to do that. That's important to me.
There you go.
You got it. Good job. I stalled as long as I could. Took you long enough. I mean, seriously. At least
we got to close out with a photo of my wife.
Yeah, here it is. Oh yeah, these are the pictures that I saw. These are great. She's.
I'm like, I know I saw her because she posted for your birthday, and then I'm like, holy cow, you post like so much every day. It took me forever to get down there.
Thank you. Now I got some defense. Reminds me of Jackie O. Very Jackie O. Nassus.
Yeah, she hears that a lot too. Yeah, she hears that. That's my stepson, her son Liam, who's, believe it or not, 15, but he towers over both of us. Great boy. He's living with us now. That was us last year at the Broadway play Tommy. I'm a big Who fanatic, so that meant a lot to take her to see that. And that was just my last birthday. We took that.
I love that shot.
I know that's one of my favorite shots too. Yeah,
that's a good shot. I love the bouquet in the background as it has that radial spin going on in there. It looks really cool.
Yeah, she's got. I've always loved old classic movies, and I always tell her she reminds me of the old 40s, 50s classic Hollywood actress.
She's timeless looking.
Yeah,
exactly.
She's got that timeless look.
She gets that a lot.
You got to answer me one. You got to answer me one question, and then we're done. And this is the filters. Do you believe AI filters, Instagram, and instant gratification photography is going to hurt photographers in the long run? Or what's your opinion on the technology advancements?
Yeah, it definitely hurts photography. I hate AI. I hate that crap. I hate filters. I hate when people, you'll see them posting photos, they don't look like that. It's not them. Like, what's the point of doing that? Because when people see you in person, they go, no, that's not you. So what's the point of making yourself look 30 years younger? Especially for headshots. Headshots are used for professional reasons. So don't use AI headshots. That's completely ridiculous. They're fake looking. Headshots, you want to look like yourself. You want the best version of you, but it has to look like you. So the AI irritates me. I did a recent post, my little dig at AI. I did a post. I said, well, I finally gave in. I decided to do an AI photo of myself. And I posted a photo of Paul Newman when he was 25. So it was like, I kind of like the results. It's like, but so doing that, it's just silly. It's stupid. It's like, and I think also the headshots, it's part of the experience. You can go on the computer and you fix that, but not only do you get the great headshots with me, I hate to sound like a salesman, but because I'm not that, but it's part of the experience. Is part of it. As you guys could probably agree. It's like the whole experience and bringing out your personality. Instead of like just doing something on the computer and making yourself look like somebody that you don't look like. So yeah, not a fan of AI. I don't know if it'll put me out of business. It may put me out of business one day.
Well,
by then
I'm
I'll
sure.
be 74, so it might be all right. But but no, I just don't.
Yeah, I don't think someone like you goes out of business because, like Apple, they may reinvent themselves, they may change who they are, but in the end, it's the customer service that wins,
right.
and it's not necessarily the product, because Steve Jobs said it best: you have to tell people what they don't know that they need.
Oh, okay. Never heard.
And that's exactly the truth. And nobody knew they needed an iPod. Nobody knew they needed an iPhone. And he created this need, and it was incredible what he did. And he didn't invent anything. He just was able to take something that was already made, steal it, and make it better.
Right.
And you know what? Good for him. I wanted to thank you for one more thing, and then I'm going to leave you alone, and then we're going to let you go. I'm looking for it right now, and there was a shot that you did for me, and I just want to tell you what it means to me. And I'm looking. So hang tight. I'm almost there.
At the photo shoot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you did this for me, and I was standing behind you, and I gave Olivia instruction. Here it is. And I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry, so I'm not gonna try to cry because don't let the tattoos and the rough exterior fool you. But there's a movie that absolutely touches my soul that I bond with as a kid and fell in love with Jane Seymour, and that's Somewhere in Time. And I grew up with it, and there was a point where Christopher Reeve enters the Michigan hotel, and he's waiting for lunch, and it's 15 minutes until they open, and he's going through the museum, and he sees Elise McKenna, and he sees a photograph, and when he sees her, he can't breathe, and you physically see Christopher Reeve not be able to exhale, and the beauty of the photo just consumes his soul, and he can't escape her gaze, and he doesn't understand why, and it doesn't matter because he's under her spell, and he immediately frantically looks for a placard to say where she's at or how he can find her, and he goes on this relentless hunt and finally finds a guy named Arthur, an older man who is at the front desk. He says, Arthur, this picture of this lady, who is he? He goes, oh, Miss Elise McKenna. And he goes, he says, where can I find her? Where can I talk to her? Where is she? And he's like, well, Mr. Collier, she's long passed. And you see his entire soul defy gravity and become so incredibly heavy that it weighs him down, and he is dejected and just destroyed that this beautiful woman, he can't connect with her. And so he goes to the library, he goes through old records, and he learns everything about her, and just vicariously lives through her ghost, and decides that he must meet her. And he starts diving into time travel, and is it possible? And he talks to professors, so he gets the suits, and he gets the timepiece, and he gets the haircut, and he has to go through these rituals to meet her. Anyway, he travels back to time, to the 1900s, early 1900s, to meet Elise McKenna, and courts her, and they fall in love. And it's a rigorous process of only like 20 hours, But there's one point where she is taking a photo and she's looking very bland. And the photographer is like, Elise, show me your beauty, show me your smile. And she's just kind of just like, God, I've done a million of these. And then Richard Collier walks in backstage and she catches his gaze. And all of a sudden you see her face transform and her eyes, just like this picture, staring at Collier. And that is the photo that he saw while he was there.
That's wild.
Is the beauty in her eyes is her looking at him. And I will tell you, every time I get impatient with my wife, every time I am incapable of being the best husband I can, I look at this picture. And my friend, it completes my soul. And I wanted to say thank you so very much, because I
Great story.
I can't even explain how much that touches me.
I love that. That's two things. One, I love the photo. I don't remember capturing it, but that is a beautiful. You do look amazing there. Eyes are amazing. So I love that affected you like that. And two, I'm a classic movie guy. That's one movie I've been hearing for years. I need to see that movie, and it's just for whatever reason I haven't, because I like romantic stories. I'm not against it, so I don't know why I haven't seen that one. So now I really have to see it.
Get the Kleenexes.
Yeah,
it's a
prepare to cry.
The loop of misery in that story is almost impossible for your soul to comprehend. It's just two people who are desperately in love who found a way 100 years separated to it's a beautiful story. Anyway, I just want to say thank you. I love the connection
with the photos. So I'm so glad I captured it. That is so cool.
You got it. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for the overtime. Barry Morgenstein, man, a true pleasure, and we hope everyone had a good time. Thank you for the donations, $411.56. It was great to see it. Liv, anything else?
Thank you very much.
All right.
And it was awesome having you on the show, Barry.
Thanks.
And I love you, dear.
We'll see you guys soon. God bless. Thanks for watching the Donut Friendly Show. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you Monday. I hope JD's brother is doing well. And it's JD, right?
Yes.
Doing well. And Chris, what's his name?
Michael.
Michael's doing well. We'll say a prayer for him and everyone else. God bless to you. Thanks for watching the show. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Barry. Good night.
Night, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
You got it, buddy. Thank you.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Good night, everybody.